go.
And hello, welcome to another episode of Roll for Story, the Sevenfold Maze arc, the Diamond Soul edition. All right, last session, you guys were chilling out in Haran's estate, doing some rehearsal, practicing what your stage act will be for when the big Great Khan talent contest goes down, and there's instructions to the stage hands to what kind of costumes and motions they're going to be going through, helping you cast spells like Pillars of Earth rising off the ground and creating a realistic looking monster for Kesh'an to fight. And as this was going down, you were getting fed more details about the actual competition itself from Doshi, who's the kind of pseudo butler. And he's told you that it's going to be like a ring, and all the contestants perform the acts at the same time, which would be totally not even it wouldn't even make sense in the real world. But thankfully, we can make it work in D&D because apparently the Great Khan has many heads of which to watch all contestants at exactly the same time. Feel bad for the audience though; they've really only got to pick one. But nonetheless, you've got the idea that you can influence and distract the other contestants, whether by using big flashes of light or tremors in the earth. So long as it's not directly influencing them, you can be as flashy and as loud as you want. It might just put off the others. And what else can you do? Um, yeah, I think that's the recap for that. Meanwhile, Taklo was gathering some very interesting information. You found there was papers, first of all, on the desk, describing the competition and how you was personally invited. And you also found a bookshelf on arcane lore. Specifically, one book had been recently pulled off the shelf. Wasn't as dusty as the others, and it detailed powerful ninth level spells. Most notably, the power word spells, words that kind of evoke either death or other terrible outcomes. Nonetheless, this tome also outlined magical artifacts that could potentially contain such a spell, and as well as like how to actually replicate it and notable uses of it in history as well. Because it is such a rare spell, there's not many mages you can just conjure a scroll for you. This is a legend of a spell, if anything.
Hmm.
And lastly, you found a safe. You weren't able to open it. It had some sort of combination, but that was below the desk. And I think that was that was mostly everything you found that was pointing to anything. The rest of the stuff was kind of just either bottles of wine or oh, there was a chest at the bottom of the bed, and you opened it, and there was a pristine wedding dress that was still kind of folded up neatly and doesn't look like it's been touched in a long time, but still got a kind of fragrance to it as you opened up the chest. It's clearly the former wife of Haran. She's her belongings, basically, still looked after. And that's it. You had your attack load disappear and come back into your hands. And then you were off to the arena where you had a selection of different opponents to go up against. And even Elias and Eirina got stuck in with some of the non trained combatants where they literally just pick up random people from the crowd almost. But there was a poor old goblin that couldn't land a single hit on Eirina. And apparently he's now free. The slave master who was using him was just trying to get one last ounce of entertainment out of him because he's no good to him anymore. So Irina, you're tending to his wounds at the moment. Elias got into a cage match, quite literally, uh, with the Yes, a lookalike himself. It was quite acrobatic. Those leaps from the cage, those bullet jumps and twirls, but eventually Elias managed to get solid hit, and a crater of sand erupted everywhere. And finally, Kesh'an versus uh, Jukmug, who is a goblin monk, quite nimble. In fact, he seemed to mimic your exact style of martial arts, down to even the stance, the use of pressure points to stun the opponent. Everything seemed almost sort of one for one, a mirror match, you could say. Except he was less covered in hair. But you came close to getting knocked out yourself. Jukmug had a nasty stun on the lower spine. You managed to break out of it after a series of another attempts. I think he went for another 3 stunning strikes on you, and you passed every one of them, breaking out of it, almost like turning your spine to steel in that moment. And you turned around, delivered the same sort of stun lock to Jukmug, and he wasn't able to break it. And you were the victor in this occasion. You're just taking a short rest at the moment. Karius is on the MC with this other Dow, just
Yeah.
sort of analyzing the match. But the next match that followed after that, you got time to sort of relax whilst you were watching it. You saw Slate Slugger versus Terramist. Terramist being this kind of sandy, like assassin who could conjure weapons as his hands, like almost blades of hardened sand. Slate Slugger is this Earth Genasi who seems completely emotionless. He seems like a brick wall when it came to taking damage. The match was close, in that Teramis was kind of like merging into the ground, popping back up and attempting to like sneak attack from behind. But you could tell Sleet Slugger managed to shrug off most of the damage, um, due to his second wind and just massive health pool. And eventually you saw him like grab a hold of Teramis so that he couldn't escape and deliver the final blow. But it was close. Um, and after that, he's kind of like flexing, walking away, heavy thuds as he comes back into the ready room, and he's at the moment taking a short break. So, um, you got another hour effectively just chilling out here whilst he takes a short rest, and during that, there's probably just more chagrin fighting. But yeah, what do you want to do to prepare for your next fight, Kesh'an?
So very quickly from my previous fight, would it effectively be counted as a long rest at all?
No, just a short rest
Oh, it's
from
just
your previous fight. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. So same thing again. I'll just chalk up, just practice my rounds.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you see, Slate Slug is mostly sort of probably having a mud bath and getting his wound tended to.
I'll probably be doing like quick sprints.
Okay. At this
Ouch.
point, I'd say it's around now that Jugmug has actually come to consciousness. He's not very healthy, but he's like you can hear him like coughing. He's laying down on a stone slab, and he's like looking around, bleary-eyed. The goblin has still probably got big swollen eye, so he's kind of blinking, wincing. He notices Yukashan, and his head just sort of tilts back again, like, ugh.
I'll just walk over, just say, sorry if I didn't go easy on you.
Oh, I was, I wasn't going easy on you either, buddy. But that was strange. It was almost like I was fighting myself out there.
I was going to say the exact same thing about you.
I think the last thing you said to me was like, "Welcome to the monastery," and then I got clocked around the face.
Where
The front.
did you study?
I I've been here most of my life, but um, in fact, all of my life. I come from one of the other regions of the Sevenfold Maze. Uh,
So who taught you how to move like that?
uh, it was a
Well,
it was passed down. My tribe, we honor a traveler who came through. He
the
taught us
door.
how to defend ourselves against bigger enemies that would try to, well, end up here.
It's a
And
freezing.
see what? You okay?
I
Think
think the
he's
frozen flame may have frozen.
I
There we
think
go.
he did.
Uh,
Are you good?
hold up. Sorry, try and.
I think he's having flashbacks. But
He literally was like, freezing, and then he froze.
and then he probably froze up.
Playing musical statues.
It's fun.
Oh,
And he's gone.
His,
fine.
his
It's
last
fine,
word
he can't
is
tell.
fine.
Okay, he's back. You're
I'm
good.
just going to quickly swap to my phone. Just give me 2 seconds.
You're okay now. It might have just been a dip.
SDS it's internet one, two, three.
You seem fine now, Cam. Well, I just
Yeah, don't say that too soon.
okay. All right, you can switch if you want.
Okay, right. I'm on a different Wi-Fi, so that should be all fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what did you hear from my end?
I just finished saying that a traveler came through and taught his tribe how to defend itself from.
Okay.
Well,
So as he was in the middle of saying a traveler had come through, Kesh'an just goes, the door.
I think that's what he called himself. It was, like I said, taught by my predecessors and their ancestors passed that down. But Ladovo,
Kesh'an,
yeah, rings
Kesh'an's
a bell.
eyes kind of like light up. But this is exactly why I'm here. I'm following the path of the Dorvu. You're the
Well,
first person that I've actually met from my monastery outside of the monastery.
you're following it better than I did.
I'll just kind of like look around and just say, did you ever hear the legend of the frozen flame? Of where it came from?
No, sorry. That part doesn't ring any bells.
Would you be able to introduce me to your teacher? To well, anybody else from yeah.
If I was able to get out of here, yes, I could take you to a deeper region and show you. But
Well, once I win this thing, I'll just ask for your freedom as my wins.
well, I don't know if my Dao master will be accepting of that. But I mean, if you have enough winnings from it, then you could just potentially buy me.
Of course, I can ask my Dao.
Oh,
I
right.
just kind of give him a wink.
All right. Who's
Uh,
your Dowdy again? And what does he do?
Who is your Dowdy and what does he do?
I had to say it.
What was the name you're going by again?
Oh, what? My guy?
Oh no, James.
Well, the DAO we currently are owned by is Haran the Gracious. I mean, if you want to just go by my character, it's Karius, because I haven't gone by an alias down here. I'm just your manager.
Yeah, just say Karius is currently our Dao.
What, the MC?
Yes, that's the one actually. He has a couple of part-time jobs, but yeah, I can ask him and see what we can do.
Yeah. He was very good at being like non-biased as an announcer, a commentator.
He does that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's put money down on me already.
Okay. Well, If you get
Just
me out of here, I'll introduce you. But for now, I think I'm gonna take 5. And he puts his head back down on the stone.
just before you have a nap, uh, what what sanctum is it that your people are from? Or I should say our people, I guess.
Oh, you mean like, where am I from? Where's
Uh,
my
which
tribe?
which layer is the tribe in?
Yeah. Okay. Let me recover from my concussion and tell you what we are from. The 5th region.
The 5th. Okay.
Damn, that's deep.
Is there just in case we make our way down there beforehand, do you have a name of the person?
Oh, of
The leader of your tribe, perhaps?
yes. Hold on. Let
Rodolfo.
me, no, no. No, yeah, he's down
Find
there.
him.
Yeah.
His name is Luck Drug. I don't know. I decided
Okay.
to keep the rhyme.
Oh, yeah. His name is Loteng.
Lotting.
Mm-hmm. Master. Well, we don't really call him Master Loteng, but he's the one who trained me.
Very well. If I'm not able to free you straight away,
Oh,
then
he's
I'll look for this Lotting.
okay. Yeah, he sort of tries to get comfortable on the stone slab and almost passes out immediately.
He'll just give him a very quick but deep bow, and we'll go back to his preparation.
Okay.
I'll come in to give him his pep talk before his next fight. You know, give you inspiration.
Thank you very much. Are you currently going back to where Karius is, or are you just sat in the stands?
I mean, I've been watching from through these gates here. That drop as soon as you go in.
Okay.
But because is Eirina still here? Just turns around, like,
Yeah, I'm still looking after the old goblin. I still feel really, really guilty.
yeah, we're still here. We were part of this, so we're still in the, fighters pit
That's all fine.
area. And I walked past his new friend and just doodle-doo, healing word. Give Jugmug healing word. Just why not? Making friends here.
I forgot. Did I get the name of this Dow last time?
His eye opens up a little bit, less smaller now.
I swear I got the name of this Dow last time.
Well, this guy right here.
Yeah.
You might have, or
I'm just scrolling up to see if it's there anywhere. I'm not seeing it.
No, he's his name is Daku the Adventurous.
So Daku, we've got the Slate Slugger versus the Mighty Kesh'an next. Who's your money on? I mean, honestly, in that last fight, I thought it was all going to go Terramis' way with the whole knife hand and the misty form, but Slate Slugger held on and he's managed to battle his way through. Really slugged.
Like I said, this guy seems as hard as the earth itself. It was almost like fighting fire with fire, but earth with earth. And I suppose the harder of the two prevailed. Sand is brittle. I guess it's
easy to disperse,
but didn't pack the punch that Slate Slugger delivered.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because based on Kesh'an's last fight, it looks like he hasn't quite got the heavy hits, but he knows the right points to hit to get some good blows in and lock their opponent up. But I don't know if he's going to be able to lock the Slate Slugger up. That looks like that might be a tricky one.
Depends if he can even crack the man. He didn't
Mm.
even attempt to dodge any one of those attacks. Did you notice?
Yeah, he
He
just
let them.
he just took him almost like he didn't see him as a threat. It's probably something that him and the Brookite mule have in common. I imagine he just stands there and takes the blows based on his appearance.
True. Well, he seems to almost like throw his own weight around a lot. Seems to unbalance his opponents. Plays like it just stands there like a sentinel. Might as well be one of these statues around our arena.
Yeah. Well, I heard that the mighty Kesh'an once brought down an entire mountain with his bare hands, so maybe he'll be enough to bring down the Slate Slugger.
Maybe. All right. Are our contestants ready for the next match? And you see another Dow in the ready room, sort of look over you guys, kind of crack his knuckles. You boys ready for the fight?
Always ready.
And get out there and give him a show. Slate Slugger, you recovered? He just got gives a nod. All right then. Yeah, you see him beginning to thud all the way up the tunnel towards the sand pit. And then he kind of turns, swivels around, and watches and waits for you to approach.
Step out again.
All right. Yeah, you can see even more craters around the sand where the previous battle had taken place. Slate Slugger looks completely unfazed from the last fight now. Almost like he took a hit but didn't show it. No cracks or anything. No fallen debris from his injuries. He is just unbreakable, it seems.
Oh boy.
All right. Our contestants are coming out now. And our first contestant, Slate Slugger. The immovable. The hardened. The Punisher. He just felled Terramist and made it look like a breeze in the desert wind. And then he looks towards you, Karius.
And then for our other opponent, we have Kesh'an, the unstoppable moving force, one who was like a mirror to his opponent, yet this reflection was more than enough to break the reflection into a million pieces.
All
Who
right.
can also move mountains.
And who has been known to move mountains, so it looks like we've got an immovable object versus an unstoppable force. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, my kind of fight. All right. At the sound of the gong, let the carnage commence. The Dow walks over, gets in position, looks at you all, and you already know all the rules. So he just gives you one last affirmative nod, and the games begin. All right, roll initiative for me.
Won't be
I'm gonna
better
clear
than last time.
Clear this. Okay. All right, give it. Get it. He gets a 14.
Well,
Quite slow. Ooh, you edge him out with a 50. Just barely. Alright. Kesh'an, you're the first to make a move. He seems to just stand there waiting.
so with my feline agility, I'm just going to start sprinting around. If I can. Oh, no. And as I get behind him, I'm just going to clock him round the back of the head
Okay. You see around the back where his head is, it's like all this kind of protruding flint that spikes backwards. It looks like you're about to punch into a, um, like a spike trap almost.
I'm gonna try and find the soft spot.
Okay.
Ooh,
Alright.
that hits
Yeah,
though.
he doesn't move, doesn't flinch, and the hit just kind of cracks him on the back of the head.
Can I get a con save for that, please? At disadvantage,
Hmm.
if he is affected.
He is, but
Nice.
he's got to roll pretty low. Nope.
Yeah.
Yep, just begins to turn his head in your direction.
Cool. Yeah, that's all fine. That's all fine. I'll take that. So second strike. I'm gonna try and crack him in the back of the leg. Bang.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely an impact. But you look down, he hasn't even shifted or dropped his guard yet. Well, he hasn't put a guard up, he just let you hit it. It feels like you've just kicked one of these pillars.
Bonus action. I'm gonna flurry of blows.
Okay.
Kesh'an coming in with a quick flurry of blows. Every blow a heavy hit by the looks of it, but doesn't seem to have even made the Slate Slugger stumble even a step.
No, I thought he was about to take him out with a sweep, but anyone who's gonna fall from such an impact might be the aggressor. Okay.
And for my effect, he's not allowed to take attacks of opportunity.
Okay.
There's no roll against it. And the last one. Yes,
Yeah.
all good hit.
4 solid hits. But
And this one, if I could get him to make a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah, there's no such thing. He's got a reaction as well, I just remembered. As a maneuver.
But he's just had his
he
reactions
can't take-
removed.
You can't take reactions.
Yeah, he should have used this when you actually got next to him, but
Maybe next time.
maybe. Alright, anyway, so which open hand technique is that? The
So it's open hand technique. There you are.
yeah, okay, cool.
So this one's going to be dexterity saving throw.
Alright. This is where you find out his weakness. Yeah.
That's a fail, so he's not prone.
Alright, yeah. You finally find that he's quite top heavy. And as you kind of kick out that leg finally, you just see him topple like a sack of bricks. Massive heavy thud into the ground. You can feel the tremor from the ground.
Perfect. Yeah. So as I finish my strikes and drop him to the floor, I just return to my original starting point, just kind of like picking at a bit of dust under my nails, just kind of looking all casual.
Alright. Nice. Okay.
Only a bold opening gambit. 4 powerful blows, and one of them enough to knock the Slate Slugger down on his ass. Will he be able to get back up?
You
Will he
see
be able to
him
get close to return the pain?
rising out of the ground, almost like the spikes are pushing off the back and lifting him back up, almost as if the earth has just propped him into the right position again. Looks over at his shoulders, the sand that's kind of in the joints, begins dusting himself off. And he's going to use second wind.
Cool. This is action gone. Nice.
That's a bonus action.
Oh, sorry, bonus action. Nice.
Yeah. Should be anyway.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, bonus. Yeah, so he just does that, dusts himself off a bit. You hear a kind of grinding and then a crack as he adjusts his neck. Brings up 2 heavy fists, which look like they have a natural looking knuckle dusters of flint sticking out of them. And he moves forward 5, 10, 15, Oh, I see where you've moved there, buddy. Hmm. Is that your plan all along? Just to fight this guy?
Well, it's just confirmed his movement for me.
Hmm.
Trying to see if there's actually any maneuvers that would even help in such a thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking. He's got about 16 different maneuvers, I swear.
So I thought there was one that might be a reach. Does he have lunging attack?
That would be the one, but
that says the reach of your weapon.
yeah, a weapon could be a fist.
Yeah.
Looking like this is a problem for him as he slowly closes the gap, but he's about to like rear back and go for a haymaker, but a moment too slow. I'm gonna have to do something else as an action instead. Okay, I know what he's doing. As he rears back for a haymaker, he brings both of his arms together, and it's kind of like that boxer defensive stance, bringing both arms up, protecting his head, kind of weaving slightly back and forth. But he comes to a halt, and you can see the stone and the flint kind of rise up a bit out of his skin, and they almost like his muscles are flexing underneath this armor of stone, and it's helping kind of bring it all together into like a shield wall around him. He is using an action to do something, but I'm not going to reveal what that is. It's your go.
Cool. So I'll lunge forward again. And as he's curled up, I'm going to try and bring a knee to break that defense.
Okay, go ahead.
What? 27 to hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Cool.
Doesn't look like he's making it necessarily harder to hit. The others in the crowd realize that this is actually some sort of, well, you could say spell, but it looks so innate and so natural to this guy that he managed to kind of, I guess, disguise it. But he did let out some grunting as he did this. So, as you go to punch him, you noticeably find that your impact doesn't quite get through this defense as much. You definitely hit him. That much is certain.
Okay. I'll go for the same strike.
Okay, yep, you hit him again. I'm just gonna do this. There we go. And once again, you hear these kind of low thuds. There's no pushing him back. There's no like finding any soft spots. You can feel bruising on your knuckles though. That's much for sure.
In that case, bonus action, I'm going to use Step of the Wind to sorry, not Flurry of Blows. Sorry, not Step of the Wind, Patient Defense. So I kind of like rear back on my back foot a little bit and just kind of nimble up and just wait.
Okay.
So yeah, so I go into a defensive stance and wait for an attack.
Okay. Yeah, so that's patient defense, and you're now dodging, so he looks like the single eye kind of catches you backing away from the attacks, and he brings down his fist, ready for a straight, and just unleashes it like it's been this pent-up energy like a volcano, fires forward straight towards you.
Kesh'an, unable to break the defensive stance of the Slate Slugger, goes into his own defensive posture, getting ready to dodge. But it looks like the Slate Slugger was waiting for that opportunity and is bringing back with a precision strike.
That's it. Precision. So he's gonna make this a flat rather than when you make it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Unarmed strike. That hits.
Well, doesn't precision just add a superiority
Adds-
dice to the roll, not make it
does.
flat? It's feinting attack
you're
to
right.
make it flat, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Well, I got that too. I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Goes
Yeah,
in for
I'll-
what looks like a precision punch, but it seems like Kesh'an dodges out of the way, and the real punch comes up for a haymaker.
Yeah.
Fainting
an
attack.
uppercut instead. It was. That was it. So I fainted a precision attack. It was actually
Yeah.
uppercut. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
But you get
Okay,
to add that to
so
the damage
it
of it. Your superiority
Take
dice
7,
roll.
and I'm gonna roll a d8, which is 4. Taking a extra 4 there.
Powerful
Okay.
blow.
And what else can we do as a part of this? I can attempt this. I'm gonna make you. Oh wait, you have advantage on dex save this round, don't you? Oh wait, it's a strength save. Oh my god, amazing! All right, yeah, sure, we'll do this. After the uppercut, you realize that your tin gets knocked skyward. He's already gone low, and he swept a leg straight underneath yours. And
Wait,
he's gonna
sweeping
attempt.
attack's a strength save?
Yeah, trip attack. He's gonna
That's
attempt
weird,
that.
even though mine. That's so weird.
Trip
Yeah.
attack is a strength.
Oh, and using that
There's
momentum
no-
from the uppercut, he goes in for the sweep, hoping to use that momentum to his advantage.
You have to hit me with another attack to use that.
Yeah, so you've got to hit again.
Oh right.
Yeah,
It says when you hit a creature, right?
but it's not stackable.
You can only use one maneuver per attack, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll attempt to.
It's still at disadvantage because patient defense.
Oh wow. Even with
That's
this.
still hit.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, and you
So
get to
yeah,
add a d8 to that as well.
Okay. I'll add a d8.
I'm gonna use my
Inspiration.
inspiration die.
Yep. Fair
Give
enough.
me a good number. But 14, 13.
13.
Yeah.
Doesn't got it. Afraid so. He's DC 14. You get floored. Now, do I do anything else?
I mean,
I mean, I've
if
done
he's-
one and then off.
if
wait,
he's
sorry,
got it,
one extra.
he could. Oh wait, yeah, this level you've probably got more attacks, don't you?
No, he hasn't. I've made it even. He's got the same attacks as you. But
Oh.
I'm wondering if I action surge.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I forget.
Surge
Would
can
Action
get-
Surge give him 2 more attacks, or is it just
Yeah.
1 extra?
It would. No,
Yeah.
it would give him 2.
Yeah, so I'm not.
Screw it. While you're on the floor, he will. You just see him sort of like burst down, and he's gonna instead. He's making an attack, but as his fist comes towards you, it turns and goes into a grip and tries to slam into your throat effectively. And he's gonna just basically pin you down on the ground with a grapple. So you can give me an acrobatics check. I'm gonna give him an athletics. Wait, I can do this as part of a maneuver, can't I?
Yeah, there's a grappling attack, I
Oh
think.
yeah. Oh yeah. In that case, hold up. Let me just roll a hit instead. Because he's got that as well. Grappling attack. Yeah, grappling strike. When you hit a creature. Okay, so I've got to hit you first. So this will be a flat attack. And
Nice.
oh,
So while I'm on the floor, I can just imagine he goes to reach down to grab me, and I just 2-foot kick his hands away.
Even whilst
Okay.
down on the floor, it seems Kesh'an is not that much of a helpless prey.
oh.
It's like when you go to stroke a cat when they're on the back and they just like, no.
Seems this kitty does not want to be petted.
So one more attack. I'm going to use... Go on, that's another straight punch. So, after you like knock those away, you see his legs suddenly lift over, and he's basically kind of entering into some sort of wrestling maneuver where he locks your arms down with his leg, and he's kind of like shifted perpendicular to you. And we're gonna go with a 14. Still not enough.
That's a miss.
Get tangled. Unless I precision strike. Not worth this one. I really wanted to grapple you. That would have done wonders, keeping you on the ground. But you see, the announcer's like, it turned into some sort of scrim, a flurry of limbs, and the tangle, the untangle.
It's hard
like
to
this kitty is.
It's hard to see
Was
what's
that-
rock and what's cat.
Yeah. He's moving like liquid, which is, of course, gonna make him sink like a stone. All right, Kesh'an, it's back to you.
Cool. So Kesh'an does super fucking Eddie moves to stand back up. And thank you. And he's going to spin around and he's going to try and get under him with his spinning legs.
All right.
Whack.
Oh, he
Was
does
that
not
hit?
have high AC.
Not at all.
Nope, doesn't. He's the immovable object.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Give me another con.
Another con though. Okay. With the disc.
At this, yeah. Damn it.
Shrugged off.
That's all fine. So he's going to jump round to his left. And he's going to try and knee into his chest again. Whack.
Yep.
You're getting so close to crits multiple times.
I know,
know.
right? Tell me about it. How's he looking, by the way?
Still as good as you. Going blow for blow at this point. No, no
Okay.
signs of cracks or anything.
No problemo. So bonus action.
It's almost like
Flurry of
in this
blows.
battle he's trying to get blood out of a stone. It's very difficult.
I know this is so stupid, but can you give me a strength save?
Are you sure of
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That fails. Oh my god.
Okay, hold on. Before we decide that, you think this guy could perhaps be knocked off balance if you swing around the side and attack him on the flank? He's going to be off balance on his footing. But suddenly you see his torso suddenly shift. And you hear that subtle, almost dislocating sound. And yeah, you see his lower half turn. And I'm going to use Indomitable.
Ah, yes.
Really?
Yep. Gotta use it.
What's Indomitable do again?
Allows him
Reroll
to
the thing.
re-roll.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn. That's a pass. God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Suddenly seeing some movement from the slate slugger. Looks like he was keeping something up his sleeve. Or in his torso.
Yes.
Never seen a movement like that. Is he even human?
Um,
so
well,
as he doesn't move,
very
I
few
just-
humans have that much rock, so I'm gonna say no.
Is he even Genasi? We could be quizzing this all night.
It is a good question. I've not seen one quite that rocky. He might not be a normal Earth Genasi. Perhaps he's got some other heritage mixed in.
Ooh. Lava.
Mmm.
All right.
Low, but all-consuming.
Cool.
Alright, Kesh'an, anything else?
So Kesh'an brings his leg round again and is going to try and clock round the jaw.
That
He's
connects
unable.
on a softer part of his neck, and you hear kind of a crack in his neck. Not visible, but you definitely see him like sort of turn it back into place.
He's unable to make reactions, and Kesh'an is going to climb up to the top of this pole.
Okay.
How
pole's not
tall is
terribly
it,
tall.
first of all?
They're probably only about 10 foot tall.
10 foot. Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically as tall as the pit is, which is also kind of at 10-foot level.
Cool.
Okay.
It
so-
seems the cat has climbed a tree. Let's hope it doesn't get stuck.
Hmm. So we can't take reactions. It's his go though. 5, 10. We'll say he's like underneath you basically at this point.
Yeah.
This side actually. He's looking up at you. I mean, there's nothing stopping him climbing up.
Ooh,
There's
we've
like
got some
spikes
perilous
protruding.
pole fighting now.
Yeah, there's like spikes protruding all the way up this pillar, and he's using them like almost like pitons to climb up. And he does have reach within. Well, he's within striking distance at the very least. So he's gonna go for.
Okay.
He's gonna go for like low body shots. Okay.
At this angle, you can defend his head pretty well, but it's his liver I'm worried about now.
Yes.
Oh, that one got kicked away. Oh, there's a strike.
There's a rock defying gravity for you. Going up rather than down.
Alright. Shall we unleash a maneuver? Push. Could do another trip attack. That would knock you off here for an extra d6. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna make you. He's basically gonna try and peel you away from the pillar and toss you overhead. Can you give me a strength saving throw? You got the strength to hold on. Oh, no, you don't. Not this time.
Seems
So
the
he's
climb
gonna
is
rip-
proven to his disadvantage. As rocks go up, cats go down.
Yeah, he gets a hold of your tail and leg and rips you away from the pillar, tosses you over the head like a suplex almost. And as he comes down, whack into the earth, you take an extra d6 from the full damage. Unless, of course, you can reactionary.
And you've also...
I can reaction slow fall.
You can. Does it use key?
Nope.
Uh,
Don't think so. Also, don't forget your damage roll for the
Thanks.
maneuver.
Extra 4.
Don't think slow fall's key.
Worth a check.
if it does, I probably won't bother because it's only 6 damage.
Let me have a look for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Oh, it's because it's changed places.
That's at the very top.
No, you can use a reaction.
Oh, yeah, you don't take any damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Okay, but he does floor you onto the ground. Kind of knocks the wind out of you, but thankfully stops the landing on the sand, and you manage to sort of drift down like a piece of paper. He looks around, gets ready to strike you again, but I'd have already used that almighty action third down. So it's your turn.
Cool. So I'll stand back up again.
Of course.
And once again, try my luck. First strike. Poof. Okay.
God, you're getting painfully close to crits. It's so my hits. Keep getting 29s. It's ridiculous.
I don't know why that rolled
Roll
twice.
double? Yeah, I'm not sure either. Did you double click it?
Maybe. I mean, they both hit.
Yeah, and I just both got damaged. It's only one damage roll. No, it wasn't. I got -8 on the first one. A hidden fist, they call him.
He hit once, but I swear I saw a second blow, like a second point of impact. Dust flying up from like the left shoulder. He hit down in the solar plexus. Didn't even see that one.
It's
It's like
still
he hit
only
a
damage
strike.
one.
It's like he hit a strike within the shadow of the first strike.
Oh,
Cool.
So yeah, that did do damage. You took 8, then 13.
No worries. So bonus action once again. Let's get this fucking guy down.
Yeah, I'll say even he seems bewildered and from that hit, you can see like a fissure crack up his chest.
Nice. So I'll just go for a double palm strike against it. Bam.
Wow,
And
12 even hits. He has
let's
no
get-
dex at all.
Doesn't
Let's
move.
get that dex save.
He's a fighter. He needs armor.
Oh,
Clubs
no.
have con, monks have wisdom, but this fighter doesn't have his armor.
He
There's one
could have had a
downside.
little bit of dex.
Could have, but I assigned the strength and con to 20 like a mad lad.
Dex save for me, please.
Okay, Dex. Yeah, he's gonna have a weakness. Oh, but there you go. He shields it up with an incredible feat. You suddenly feel this sort of heat wave kind of emanate from his chest. It sort of pushes you back as you try to like trip him.
That's all fine. Last one. If you want to give me that strength one more time.
On a strength save, yeah.
Yep.
16.
And
Ambitious.
anybody cut that shit.
No, you're asking the crowd.
It seems Kesh'an's trying to get some audience participation going, but I don't think that. What do you think? Should that be allowed for this fight, or?
I'm joking, I'm joking.
It's about
I
it
ain't
the
gonna
whole, whole fight.
Fuck.
But
5, 10, oh,
I wanted to make it fair. I didn't want to cheat.
2.
You got up with half your movement, don't forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So you standing there? You good?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's face check this cunt.
Alright. Something else I've been checking out on his abilities.
It's the cap bends with the blows. Will he just be able to bend, or will he break underneath the weight of the mountain that is the Slate Slugger?
Unarmed strikes deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength. Aren't wielding any weapons or shield. When you make the attack roll, the d6 becomes a d8. I've been rolling the wrong damage this entire time. Start of your turn, you can deal 1d4 damage. Okay, that's... Yeah, okay. So how many times did I use it? Like... Yeah, I've been doing minor damage.
It almost looks like the Slate Slug is about to open up. I can see fissures on the arms, like he's gonna start hitting even harder.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
So I've just been reading an ability that's kind of hidden within the other ability. It says,
Yeah.
your unarmed strikes do a d6, and if you're not wielding any weapons or a shield, they become empowered, basically. They do even more damage.
Yeah,
They should be doing d8s
Yeah.
instead of d6s.
that's why I was just giving some flavour to it
Yeah,
for going
So
forward,
do-
because otherwise it'd be weird.
yeah. We're going forward, but we're doing so in even more deadly fashion. We're going to compensate for the missing damage by upping the damage.
So it's gonna be a D10.
Yep. I make the rules around here. Alrighty, see, as you described, it does seem like the flints have kind of opened up, and you see small cracks within the body have fissured open, but rather than showing a sign of weakness, you actually see rivulets of lava pulsing between the veins, and that chest where you fissured it, where you struck again, has fully opened up, and you see this kind of red, pulsing, lavery like organ right in the
Yeah.
center.
The lava
And,
pulses. It almost looks like his fists have turned into natural knuckle dusters.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna hurt.
Okay, we're gonna go with another. Oh, well, we're just gonna try and hit him first. Go with that. Nice. What we needed. Cool. So this time, as he punches you, clocks you around the head, he also enters into a clinch and grabs you around your neck with his kind of massive, beefy arm. Feels like you've just been kind of like buried underground almost. But with that, we're going to make a grappling strike. So I believe when I hit you,
Against
use
my
it.
athletics.
Spend a superiority dice, and I make a grapple as a bonus action. So you can use your athletics or acrobatics. And I'm using my athletics.
Acrobatics. Thank you.
Okay. And I get
Natural
plus-
20.
Wow. Okay. Well, hold up. I can still beat this. I'm just gonna get pretty flippin' high. Oh no, that's still see how that was kind of close though. Nice though. Wow. Describe to me
That was fun.
how you slip this punch.
So once again, as he reaches out to grab hold of me, now seeing an exposed crack with this fissure, I just give a quick 1-inch punch, just straight to that, just to knock him back. Not enough to damage him, but just to like put him back on his heels.
Oh. Well, it seems to send something up his nervous system because you suddenly see, instead of blood, a bit of hot lava spits out of his mouth, and you can feel flakes of it on the tips of your fur. But a bit of lava dribbles down his face and off his chin, singeing the sand below. Second strike, he's gonna hit with. Man, no grapple. Running out of superiority dice. Ugh. Guess we'll just oh, there's a maneuver I can do that would be fun. If I hit, right? Yeah, I gotta hit you first. Okay. Alrighty, so he kind of steps 1 foot to the side, like just here, and goes with this massive double slammed fist attack towards you. Yeah, it hits. Let me check the maneuver. If it's even worth it. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm gonna do it. He's gonna use his last superiority dice to make a pushing attack. When he hits you, add dice to damage. So you take an extra. Only 2. But I need you to make a strength save.
Now's the time to pass it. Fuck me. Can't wait.
No. Okay, this is gonna hurt.
Actually, damage is gonna hurt.
Yeah. So, being drove backwards onto spikes, you can already see there is blood stained on the sand already from previous combatants who suffered this. And as you slam onto the back, the pain shoots right up your spine, through your neck, and you suddenly see blood spurt from your mouth. As you take, I'm going to add an extra. What's fair? What's fair is something lower than that number. What's dramatic is that. Take 20 points of piercing damage. And you are on 34, my friend. You're looking as rough as he is now. He's got bloody mouth. That maneuver was set up. And that's his go.
So Kesh'an's going to pull himself off of the spike that I can imagine is pierced like lower half of his body. He spits on the ground, wipes his mouth as he just closes his eyes in front of him and takes a deep breath as he centers himself. And I am going to use wholeness of body. And I'm going to bring back 39 hit points.
Yeah. Now, unlike Second Wind, this takes an action, but
It does.
the effects are leaps and bounds above a Second Wind. So, yeah, go ahead.
The Eirina truly being used to their advantage. The Slate Slugger lands a devastating blow using the pillar, but it looks like Kesh'an has gathered themselves and somehow managed to... It looks like their wounds have stitched themselves together a little. That takes some great control.
And
Fair.
bonus action, patient defense, as he just locks eyes and beckons him
Alright.
forward.
You see a burning rage in the Slate Slugger's expression. Finally, you see him showing some emotion. Sort of growls under his breath, thinking he had you, thinking that was it, coup de grace, but still standing, in fact, looking better than you were just a moment before. If only you had one level in Bob, that'd be great. He would
Yeah.
rage right now. He would be raging. But he just closes forward, and you can see a slight stagger to his footwork now. He just goes wild for a haymaker, but we're going to meet disadvantage. And you can
Yep.
see he's flagging. Those superiority dice are. Oh,
Oh, that
next though. Oh, clock. It's the speed at which he does it suddenly. The boiling blood in his body makes him faster than usual. And he does connect with that one. After that, we'll go. That should have been death. I'll re-roll that. So, an 11. Oh yeah, okay. Natural one. The
So-
patient defense wears off. I mean, pays off. Sorry.
Yeah, Kesh'an, like, he prepares for the first strike, didn't expect the speed of it. He was more expecting the strength. So it just breaks straight through. But as he gets used to that first strike, second one comes in quick and he just bats it away.
Nice. Cat reflexes. Intercept that attack. It's your go. That's it. He's got
Perfect.
nothing left in the tank at this point. Just straight smacking you.
So Kesh'an circles him a couple of times, picking up speed and dust as he lays in the first strike to his side. Oh, fuck. Why'd that hit so many times?
I don't know. You hit.
Once
You
on
did.
it.
You rolled once, but there was a hidden attack again for some reason.
I don't know why.
Don't know why either. It definitely hit though. Both attacks.
Okay.
I can only see one in the chat.
You only see
Okay,
one as
hold
well.
on. All I'm gonna do is. You rolled a 6. Okay, alright. Roll again for another attack. Apparently you hit him on max damage on another one. I don't know why
Okay.
it's doing that, but
Wait, so how many attacks am I on?
you've done one attack.
Okay, cool.
And you hit him, and he took 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Perfect. Keep spinning. And second attack. Oh shit, that wasn't where. -2 to all of them.
Okay, well, I'll tell you now. The only way you're gonna miss him, is if you roll a nat 1 at this point.
Yeah.
So that hit, but it's -2 damage at the very least.
And then bonus action flurry of blows. Kick to the side. And
Oh,
give me that strength save.
okay. You're really determined to strength fail him, aren't you?
Ooh.
But he is holding on.
Last strike.
He's still standing.
Give me
You've
a
opened
dex
up
save. Give me
everything.
a dex save.
A dex, okay. Yeah. Okay. Whoa! Whoa! Yes, let's go.
The mountain
God.
remains immovable.
Unmovable to the very end. Oh man. Though he turns around, you can see he's opened up on all his body parts, like flint chipped, arms cracked, torso literally fissured open, and I have the artwork handy. I would slap it in the chat.
I'm gonna finish that. Fuck that again.
Okay, so he turns around, still spitting hot lava, and attempts to like grab a hold of you and just pummel you in the face repeatedly. 24 to hit, yeah. That's a hit. It's fists. They're supposed to be more powerful, but I rolled minimum on the damage now. That's
That's
a
been
tad
more like
better.
it.
But, and you can definitely feel that he's still got the weight behind each hit, but at this point, your wholeness of body has put you so much more far ahead in terms of like the lead. that he's running out of steam, running out of energy. The lava is maybe also hardening, like it's cooling and cracking.
It looks like maybe the fire in his belly is slowly being quenched by the overwhelming speed that is Kesh'an.
Oh,
Dousing the flames.
he's like circles around him to make like
Yep.
wind pick up. And that
Yeah.
wind is cooling the lava. Yeah.
They do say the monks train by blowing out candles with the force of their fists. I've never considered it for lava, but seems it works for that too.
Well, looks like we're about to have a blowout ourselves. Can he finish him in this round?
All right. Up to you, Kesh'an.
Beautiful. So Kesh'an just turns into a blood furry mess as he just unloads. First strike, second strike.
Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah. That's the full artwork of him.
Nice.
There he is. I'm afraid he can't hold on. You see that chest crack open? There's this kind of tremor and rumble, and a sudden spurt of lava starts issuing forth from him, Kesh'an. You would definitely want to get the heck out of Dodge from, because it's lava.
Yep.
And give me a dex save real quick.
Evasion.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Deal.
Ooh.
Oh, that's no
I
good.
mean, it's still evasion anyway.
It is. Just check the improvised damage chart for lava. I'm pretty sure it's. Oh god, yeah.
It's
Is
hard.
he still standing?
No, he's not. Well, he is standing, but he is on 0 hit points.
God.
So okay.
He's making a flare attack.
No, I would never. 3d10 to the mix. You'll take half anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if I rolled like being, even if I rolled something like ridiculous damage for being basically like in lava, which you're not, but you'd be splashed with it. You would still be standing as you only take 10 points of fire damage from this. As this gout of lava, like you've delivered a punch to some sort of like blood bag in his chest, it just issues forth this steam and in a blood, boiling blood. But you see, after that attack, and you think that you've maybe pierced him off royally, and you reel back, waiting for another opening, and you see he's just standing there. His head is hung low to the ground, and his arms are kind of by his side.
I'll just kind
But
of
he is still standing.
walk over and
Boop, you boop him. Yeah, you see it slowly push back. It's going to maybe need a bit more force than that, but you see it leaning.
And it looks like that might be the battle over, and what an explosive finish!
You keep poking and poking until finally he goes over the tipping point and just.
yeah, I'll just wait until he's like 45-degree angle, and then I'll just be like, that'll do.
The mountain falls.
I would like to
Right.
point out that in that no magical item fight, technically Kesh'an would have 30 less HP. At one point, you drop to 4 HP in terms of not having that con amulet.
Well, he's got the amulet on him, isn't he?
It's
Yeah.
just because it's not really... Even if he didn't have it on him, it'd still be attuned. It's not really giving him an edge in combat. It's just allowing him to actually survive. I think they'd be okay with that one, whereas the displacement cloak would be a bit unfair.
Yeah. I was waiting until after the fight, but technically you dropped to 4 HP, which was close.
Right. Well,
Oh,
Yeah, see what they did use
would
the
have still
spell.
survived.
He would have
he
still
would've
survived,
come out
yeah.
on top. He would have, regardless of whether he has magically enchanted or not. The crowd can't see what's going on, like hit point wise, but the Earth Genasi was using Blade Ward on turns he couldn't hit you, which is a magical spell technically against the rules as well. but it's a very natural Earth Genasi kind of maneuver. So you didn't even see it. Very hidden within that. But Eirina and Elias definitely saw it.
It feels as innate as, like, Teramis, I'm turning myself into daggers.
Yes, exactly. Slate Slugger
Has fallen. He slugs no more. He looks like a slug on the ground, in fact, with that lava pooling underneath him. Can we get a cleanup crew in here before the whole arena turns to glass?
The slate slugger has been turned into slag.
Alright. This leaves the last man standing as the victor. Kesh'an.
and you see the Dow hover down towards you, and rather than like raise your fist up in the air, you hear the ground beneath you suddenly rumble, and the pillar of earth rises you up to the ground. You didn't realize just how many people had gathered at this point. They heard the pit fights were getting apparently pretty spicy in the last couple of rounds, and there is now a small crowd of both Dow and slave alike, and they are cheering your name.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
Karius is just going to sort of call out to Andi, who I think is with us somewhere. Start playing the song!
Oh yeah, she's on it.
Like after every single match that he's won.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Karius is going to start singing along and try to get the crowd singing it.
Okay, nice.
Singing the Kesh'an theme.
Definitely. Give me a performance check then, Andy, and see how well this catches on. And I doubt it won't.
Oh, one quick question noise.
I'll do some aiding.
No one brings down the mountains with his fist like Kesh'an.
It's a little bit on the slow side, so you just have to give it a second.
Okay, doke.
But to the winner goes the spoil. Well, to your master it would.
Wait. Nope.
Hey, I didn't say that.
No.
No,
Right
I think
again.
Elias is. So you can roll with advantage as
Yeah,
Elias
I'm
also joined
trying.
in.
It's
Bear
not.
with
It's
me.
not rolling. We're
Oh.
not even getting the box saying normal advantage, saving throw, etc. It's just literally not
You
working
gotta,
at all.
you gotta hold shift and click it.
No, I mean the box isn't even coming up to roll it.
No, you don't need a box, do you? You can just click it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
clicking
we're
it and it's
clicking it,
not
nothing's
doing
happening.
anything.
Okay, well then, I would suggest refreshing and then seeing what happens, because that doesn't sound right. I mean, the sheet opens and closes for me. I'll double check. Yeah, the sheet is working. I think you just need to refresh.
That's what we're doing.
It seems reality is having some slight technical difficulties. There appears to be a song trying to start. Possibly
I
they're
mean,
just tuning their instrument.
If someone else can roll her, then feel free to do it because this is
Sure.
taking its sweet time.
I shall in fact roll it for you. Onwards with advantage. Yeah, that was
I mean,
But
would
that's
she
you
fail
got.
that?
Well, I rolled a 3 as well, but thankfully, Elias tuning in as well, joining the chorus, the backing instruments. You managed to amplify the performance and the singing along. Everyone catches the lyrics pretty damn quick, and before long, you have the whole pit fighting crew singing along as well. All right,
Right, I'm just gonna see if I can roll one.
there we go.
Alright, who are we paying these?
Not doing
Who
anything.
we pay these winnings to? Is it Haran the
Haran the Gracious.
Gracious? Yes, alright.
Did you want to say anything?
I was going to
going
say.
on?
But
Does your sheet work?
speaking of Haran the Gracious, if you want to see even more of his Kesh'an and other servants of Haran perform in a different way, then you should try to attend the competition in a few days. I'm sure it'll be spectacular.
What? He's gonna be in the Great Khan's talent show as well.
Yes.
Well, he truly is a multi-talented individual. Something of a
Indeed.
superstar, aren't you?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
see a small chest of gold being lifted your way
Yep.
by one of the Dao.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you wanted to try and get Juckmug now or later. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming that Kesh'an has come over.
Yeah. So
And mentioned this.
yeah, so Kesh'an would have mentioned to Elias about it. And just say, like, just mention this person, I know them, can we free them? Or buy them?
Right.
He would like to purchase the little goblin.
Right. Naku, who owns Yuckmug?
You hear another Dao from the crowd lift up his hand and says,
That would be me.
It seems that the mighty Kesh'an has taken an interest in your goblin servant and would like to potentially have him join our merry band under Haran. All things considered, I mean, he held up a good fight, but I don't think he would have held up against the Slate Slugger in the same way Kesh'an did.
I wish to train him.
he looks over towards you and says, Juckmug is one of my most competent fighters.
Virtues.
We need to match his price.
And how
Just-
much would you say that Yuckmug would be?
Just think of it this way. With the way Kesh'an is going, this arena, the performance to come, everyone will want to be under your service after this. You'll get plenty more Juckmug fighters, maybe even better, who want to be trained by you specifically.
Why me, when I'm the loser?
You were the one that trained him up to this point. You made him
I am not
as good as he is now.
necessarily his trainer.
They don't know that though, do they?
And also, if you think about it, Yuckmug clearly fought his hardest in that fight, so it shows that you are a good person to be owned by. Regardless. So that might get you some interest from other people wanting to be bought by you.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Juckmug, come, and he, gets him to basically get up on his legs.
Do we get
And he
just
looks down at the goblin.
yeah, just quickly, Chris. What from our bets do we basically get twice what we put down back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if
Just
you
thought
place any
check.
bet, okay, remember you put in the Discord.
Yep, so I
something
put
like
50
150
gold.
gems?
I put 50 gold and 50 gold of gems and 120 gold myself. So 240.
Yeah, you'd gain double that back.
I put 150 down, so that's 300 back.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for winning.
Oh wait, I've got 120 for reasons. I think it's just.
He thinks for a moment and says, there may be still more fighting for you to do in the pit. You can't retire now. There is too much more winnings to be earned. And I know you've still got fight in you, Juckmug. What would you do if you went with these individuals? I'd probably try and get home. I'm honest, but I know that sounds preposterous. But maybe Huron the Gracious will be, as his name implies. Hmm.
What about
He seemed,
in the future? Maybe you could rent him after he's been trained by Kesh'an to win you earnings in the arena.
you actually, I mean, how much time has he got down here? I mean, Kesh'an ain't going to be down here for much longer. I mean, he doesn't know that, of course.
And he
but-
doesn't know that.
Yeah,
So
for what
you
he
can-
thinks is that we're just going to be with Huron the Gracious the entire time. He doesn't know we're planning
Yeah.
to move on from there.
True. Yeah, you can roll me a deception check, Elias.
I don't know how long we're gonna be there.
Still
Yeah,
technically
okay.
a lie, because I don't think Kesh'an's aiming to train him.
Hmm.
We're all coming in together on this.
Hold on. I'm rolling his insight.
That was a really bad.
And just in case this adds anything, and think about it, if Yokmug joins us and joins part of our performance, we can, and we do well, we can even put in word with the Great Khan to say that Yokmug was a vital part of the performance and was trained by you in order to get you some fate with the Khan as well, even if we win.
I actually mean that as a deception because I don't know. I thought Kesh'an would be training him in his spur
That
days.
sounds like I would need some sort
Yeah.
of guarantee.
Well, how about this? Don't make your decision immediately. If you, when's the performance?
2
now?
days' time.
Yes. Come to Haran the Gracious's estate in 1 day's time. We'll discuss with Haran and see what we can do, and then you two can come to an arrangement then.
Some of that hooker was really good, wasn't it?
It seems agreeable. And now, Chukmag, you are cleaning yourself up and coming back with me.
That is fair enough.
I will admit your Kesh'an is quite the fighter and performer. I do look forward to seeing him in the performance.
Yes.
My name is Shakef. Shakef the Quiet.
That would explain why I didn't hear you during the thing. Normally I can hear most of the Tao. Very clever.
He's seems quite reserved, and as most Dao go, he's actually kind of dressed more modest. He's got more like tattoos on his body than he has like opulent jewelry, and still, obviously the pit fighter bodyguards they're mostly topless anyway. But most noble Dao you've seen so far have been bedecked. This guy seems to be a little bit more modest than the others, and so maybe his appearance is also quiet in that respect as well, comparatively. He still looks ripped. Looks like he was a fighter himself at some point, perhaps. Why he's probably in the business. Here, I'll put this in chat.
Oh, it's spelled with a Q, because of course it is.
Yes. Yes. Those genie things. All right. And he will know what else. He will also give you the address to his estate as well.
Okay.
Should Doshi want to get communications between the two down. So, all right. With that, you see Jugmug sort of shrug and catch up with you later. I hope, but it was worth a try.
Yeah. See you soon, Yukmug. Either as one of our companions, or at least perhaps at the performance to see how well Kesh'an can do outside of combat.
Yeah.
And I hope you feel better soon. You got a bit of sand in your ear, by the way.
All right. There is one last thing before you're choosing to leave, and you see another noble Dao does approach you. In fact, I think it's one. No, you wouldn't recognize this one. Let me just grab him. Where is it? Oh no. Where is she, I should say? So, a rather muscular-looking female Dao approaches you, Karius, once your business is kind of concluded with this other Dao. And she kind of clears her throat, tries to get your attention.
Yes, your Grace, I guess, would be the right title. Till I know your actual name and stuff. Still getting used to this.
Yes. You can call me O'Neill, the trustworthy.
I have to say I'm really liking the titles down here. It really helps me get a gauge of what people are like.
Side check.
Yeah, sure. Roll an insight check.
Like, no one who calls themselves trustworthy is
Yeah,
trustworthy.
I will try as well, Garrus. Just like,
No, they're trustworthy.
yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, I don't think I get a title, which is a shame. But I'm Karius. How can I help you, oh
I couldn't
trustworthy
help but
one?
see your fighter's capabilities. I was wondering, perhaps an exhibition match between my best fighter and yours would be in order.
And when were you thinking of such a thing taking place?
Whenever you can fit Haran's schedule, but I am available anytime. Fighting is, well, it's one of my biggest. She pauses for a second. Instead of saying interest, she says investment. And
You didn't
walking up
happen to
behind
buy a
her,
Minotaur recently, did you?
I did not. No, had I? But I was betting on them. That's what I was saying. You might have recognized them, but I don't
Yeah.
think I mentioned them. I was at that auction, but I'm afraid I was outbidded.
It happens.
Nonetheless, I still have my own mule, and behind her, you see the Brookite mule does come into view. The stout, muscular dwarf. This is my fighter, Brookite mule. I was wondering perhaps if Kesh'an wanted to, we could have a one-on-one exhibition match of sorts to show really what fighters at the top of their competition truly look like.
I shall, of course, have to discuss it with him and Haran as well, but I'm sure that something like that could be arranged. I would be interested in seeing how such a fight would go. I honestly wasn't sure how things were going to go with Kesh'an this time. It looked like the Slate Slugger might have the upper hand, but in...
What are we talking? Tomorrow, if he's willing?
That would work for me.
And then scheduling the meeting in the evening? Obviously, this is down to Haran and
Yes,
Kesh'an.
we will have to speak with them, but if you give me your address or other contact details, I shall get the Haran's Hetman to deliver a message should things be agreeable.
Yes, a meeting would be most advantageous to setting up this feat. There's a lot of details I wish to cover.
Understood.
now, though. You may express my interest
We will.
and let Kesh'an, your fighter, think it over. Congratulations on the win.
Yes, so it was an interesting fight, certainly that. And it seems like Kesh'an's built himself up a little bit of a fan base down here, but I imagine the crowd is fickle and will go with whoever the victor is, providing it's a good fight.
Indeed. There are many stakes at play, even behind the stage, behind the sand.
Hmm.
These fights can hold a meaning behind them,
Indeed.
especially when you get into the big leagues. Anyways, think it over. And she begins to hover away on a carpet of sand herself. The Brook-Eye Mule gives a nod of respect, and then they exit.
Hmm.
But all right,
Yeah.
Earning quite the prestige, Daku says.
Certainly seems that way. It seems a few people want to deal with Kesh'an in one way or another.
Well, we're closing up Eirina for now. That's your last of the matches. We'll resume tomorrow. Same time as always. Some back-breaking, tantalizing fight. You won't want to
Indeed.
miss.
Indeed.
Guess I'll just hover down and grab Kesh'an and hover back up on our
Okay.
steed.
Yep. And you guys are free to return back to your state if you wish, or
Yeah.
you can roam the Tri-Market, whatever you want to do.
Is there
I
anything?
pick up my newfound goblin under one arm, like a sack
Oh.
of potatoes. It's
Thank
coming
you.
with me.
You know, the
Kind
goblins.
lady.
Yeah. Is there anything anyone wants to do before we head back to the estate? Anything we need to buy or look into?
Did I do good?
You did fantastic, and I may have another fight for you.
Do we have time for this? What about the villa?
That's 2 days before the talent show, so
Yes, yeah.
we've got to fill the time somehow. But of course, a lot of that's going to be rehearsals. But again,
And
getting prestige will keep the Khan's eye, I suspect, so it could benefit us. The Brook-Eyed Mule wants to... Well, the owner of the Brook-Eyed Mule wants to see an exhibition match between yourself and them in order to show what true fighters at the top of their game are capable of.
I mean, I'd prefer not to. If we can get this.
I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. I said we'd discuss it. They were just showed interest.
Well, you can show my interest. I would like to get to the center of this place, and as soon as I pass whatever test is in front of me, then perhaps yes. Because at the moment, I'm not at the top of my game here.
Yes.
If they want to see me at the top of my game, then we'll give them a time for it.
Exactly. Yuck. I did try to negotiate the purchase of Yuck Mug, but wasn't able to. However, I've arranged for a meeting so that we can potentially get something set up to get him purchased by Haran.
Well, that would be amazing. Yuck Mug. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you saw us both out there.
Yeah, honestly, if he had fur, I wouldn't have been able to tell you apart.
Exactly. His people, his tribe were taught by Ladorvu. So this is going to be the next step. I need to find... what was the name of the chief again?
Chief
Lotting?
Lotang.
Lotting.
If I need to find Loctang.
It certainly seems like they would be able to provide you some insight.
Exactly.
What layer is he from?
The fifth.
So we've got knowledge on the second layer, and he can give us knowledge on the fifth layer. That's
Jeez.
2 extra layers down.
Hmm.
If we get
Sure.
him.
If we get to the center, you can tell them that I'm happy to demonstrate whatever they need me to, but I want to get the job done first.
Exactly. Well, as I said, we will have to. I said we'd arrange a meeting to discuss it if you were amicable and Haran was amicable. But it's possible Haran might not want you fighting before the tournament, before the talent show anyway, because we all need to be in our best shape for that.
Of course. I don't want to be exhausted for that.
Exactly. Does anyone need anything in the market before we head back?
Yeah, I'd like to Rosie and see if I can find a map
That would not be
or
bad.
anywhere that sells maps.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be from here. I'm just looking for a map.
Maps in general.
Karius is just going to have a casual look around, see if anything catches his eye.
So, maps are like newspapers in this place. You find that oftentimes they change, and so they have to be updated continuously. It's you see them mostly carved out on stone tablets, and they're more like a news bulletin. Like this is the current formation of tunnels that are in
I'm gonna get a bit of paper and get
your rubbing.
who is it that can write their language? Like,
Oh.
I think it's Karius. Fluent in Terran?
Yes.
Right. Cool. I'm gonna get you to write out what's the oldest map you have on a bit of paper, just so I can hand it out without breaking my cover.
Yep, Karius will do so.
Okay. So I just hand that to every map vendor.
You see someone in the process of changing the map right now. They seem to be using mold earth or stone shape to basically reshape the map, and they close off several tunnels and then make more. And you see there is actually stacks of paper out there if people want to make a rubbing already. But yeah, it's this kind of massive bulletin board.
Reach over and just tap.
What? You see, this is a dwarf slave who's chiseling away. Yep. How can I help?
I like that every slave I've approached is either a goblin or a dwarf so far. These are bad people. I just kind of put the bit of paper. Oh, he's not going to speak Terran, is he?
It's the same script.
If not, I can write it down in Dwarvish because the speak can write Dwarvish. So
Karius will just have read in both because he does both.
I can speak Terran. I've lived here long enough. Plenty of Dal told me.
Yeah, but I pushed the bit of paper in front of him, asking about the oldest map he has.
The oldest? Why do you need oldest? New is what you need.
And I actually write down my mother was a map maker.
All right. I'll look in the back. He starts to waddle off and he begins looking around for older maps. You're gonna have to dig them up. So he comes back with maps, but he says, I've only got ones of the first level, the first region. The others, nobody maps. Only the Dao have that knowledge. But here, and he hands you some very kind of thin stone tablets. Again, they're probably made out of like slate, and they're chipped, and you can see cracks all over them.
Cool. I'm gonna lay one. I'm gonna sit down my goblin. Gonna set down the thing and then get a bit of paper and make a rubbing of it.
Ooh, okay. Give me either a sleight of hand or just a flat dex check, because
It might have to be a dex check just because the skills don't seem to be working on our sheets.
Weird. Yeah, it is very delicate. As you start to make even just the first corner of a rubbing, you start to feel the crumbling nature of this
Nope.
mat, this slate. I have no idea why you're having that issue. Maybe you need to clear the cache on Chrome.
I'm not on Chrome.
There you go. There you go. I don't know if that's the problem, whether it's the browser or not, but
There's
No,
all
I can't trouble fix it from this side.
Right, hold on, I might have to just do it manually. Okay, what is my...
Yeah, just use the dice tray.
What am I doing? Sleight of hand, did you say?
Yeah, +2 unit. Oh.
No.
Try using /.
Yeah, no, I accidentally pressed shift when I...
Okay. There's also the dice tray. You can click, and then you can click plus. Oh,
That's too much for my brain, let's face it. I know it's less work, but it's still too much for my brain.
Less work, more brain. Okay, right. The rubbing is successful. You don't crack or snap the map in the process.
You
So,
kidding?
yeah.
I'm an archivist. Like,
I
this is
know,
what I do.
That's really what's represented by the role, thankfully. Yeah, and I'll say what, and in accordance with a 19, because you've done it so well, you actually get right to the bottom corner in the bottom right, where you start to rub. There seems to be an actual signature of the map as well. Has she been to the Earth plane?
I don't know. You tell me.
Doubt it, but it's a bit out of the way.
She's been to Gaidia and the Dry Oasis and stuff.
That's true enough.
That's how she met Andi. No, that's not how she met Andi. She met Andi in the Frost Caverns.
Yeah.
She met Andy's dad and Smolder in the Dry Oasis.
Okay. Well, funny enough, I'm just gonna loop it back round. It the name is the map maker's name is Shakef the Quiet. Apparently, he was a map maker in a former life. Or maybe he's just that old. He does look old. He's one of the few Dao with a massive bushy beard.
We've got his address, right?
Yes.
I might have to pay him a visit.
It's also the one who
Well,
owns Jock.
we've got to pretend we've got a meeting we're going to be arranging with him anyway, so maybe you can
Yeah, but that's going to be all business and awkward, and I can't talk in front of Haran, and...
Well, what if we just write you down some cue cards or something?
I mean, you could.
I mean, we could even get them carved into slate if you wanted, but that might be a bit heavy.
Yeah, I'm not lifting that around.
I mean, it'd be good weight training. Build up some muscle.
I started to notice the parchment's pretty rare down here. They just
I have my
carve
own
everything.
parchment, so it's...
Yeah. All right. Well, all things considered, Eirina, you've obviously found something you were looking for. Is there anything you're looking for, Elias? As you did pretty well in the fights as well. You know, might as well get some sort of reward out of it, I guess. Anything you
get some reward out of it,
other than your money?
Yeah. Oh.
Don't know. There might be something around here, and of course for Kesh'an definitely should get something. I don't know what. Maybe
I already got myself these fancy boots before.
True. So you got your thing in advance. So you just.
Well, maybe you need to top up on the smoky stuff for the meetings.
That's not a bad idea. Why don't you have a look around for that?
Yeah, I'll have a look around the shops for just little bits that I can find, and maybe some more of that smoke stuff, the hookah stuff.
Yeah, you can go over the hookah. There is a lot of different powders and scents, liquids, all
What
kinds, whatever you want.
what's likely to make someone more willing to give up their slave?
I don't think I have something that specific, but
How about something to make someone more amicable during a meeting, so they're more likely to come to an agreement on a deal?
yes, of course, we have this quartz. It's been selling quite. It's quite popular recently, apparently. But yes, I have this quartz.
Yeah,
It effectively replicates the same sort of effect as calming emotions.
It's basically what I had earlier.
It is.
what about
You
something
can
that
also use it if there's hostilities in the negotiations to nullify them. So you can like bring down one step effectively.
just like just like what about something to, you know, make them enjoy themselves more?
That we have a multitude of different flavors for.
You know, like
Really, it would depend on the type of flavor that they want. That would be how you get someone to really open up.
I don't mean flavors, I mean like you know, to get a little high.
You want drugs? All right. Why didn't you say?
Or perhaps, yeah, something to make someone open up and perhaps be more willing to speak the truth.
Exactly. That, you know,
Okay. Yes. Let me check. And you see the human shop owner begin to look around in the store. He finds. Oh, okay. I have just a thing. This. Yeah. Let me just look at how much this is.
I'm a little silly.
This is not that cheap, but this is made from. There are these strange crystal formations that seem to spread. They're almost like a root. Seems to grow through Earth, but it's made of crystal itself. Kind of got this. Hold on. He brings out a little spyglass. I believe it's blue. Yes, it is. You have this blue crystal, and you turn it to powder. It fills the air with this willingness to speak truth. It is 150 gold per application, but it fills quite a wide area. And it actually lasts a very long time as well. When you're burning it, you get a good 10 minutes out of it.
Interesting question. Were these necklaces we're wearing, would this affect us?
We got the Nexus of Adaptation.
No.
That's good.
Well, maybe. Let me check. Necklace. You should know from reading what
Yeah,
it allows you to breathe in any environment, gives you advantage on saving throws against harmful gases and vapors. It's not harmful necessarily, but I would give you advantage on the saving throw at the very least.
see if we can pass without.
Yeah.
Because we want them to be truthful, not us.
For 150 gold, though, one application of it is yours.
Fingers. Sound like a better than the calming one, or?
Well, this one is again built for truth. The other is built for calming.
Yeah. How about 140? Karius attempting to haggle.
You are a returning customer. 140. You know what? Wait, are you a returning customer? It's Eirina there.
I guess.
Is that Eirina though?
Yeah.
Make me a persuasion check. Alright, Karius. Alright, 140.
Yep. Mostly because then it makes my... Because Karius will buy it because he's got quite a bit of money. It makes my money a round number.
Seems your friend has
Okay.
brought more business to me, so 140 it is. And you can basically drag and drop Zone of Truth onto your inventory, which will make a scroll,
Yeah.
and then you can rename it the Blue Powder of Truth.
Okay.
So, because this will be good with the meeting where we want Jugmug, we can use the regular Carmine one, and then we can see how truthful the truthful there is.
Cool. All right. Anything else in the try market, or are you?
Oh, I was gonna say, is there anything you need, Kesh'an, or would like?
I'm all good, thank you.
Okay. How about you, Andy? Anything you need for your performance, maybe, or just anything that you'd be interested in getting?
Really?
Perhaps
She's
we
probably
could...
been trying to keep her hands in her pockets and not just
Take.
take.
Well, this... that's a good point,
Do
actually.
you know what? Is there like a... You know how you can find like junk shops? Looking for something like that.
Okay. Sure. There are plenty of junk shops. People trying to peddle whatever they've found or mined in the deep. Trinkets, lost things.
Which one is the
Um,
junkiest looking one?
The chunkiest junk shop.
There's probably like
Okay,
a
which
were
one's
rat.
the weirdest looking one?
There's probably like a were rat with a twitch and this massive like chieftain hat. It looks like it's
Yep, that's the one I'm
with
going to.
feathers. He's
Yep.
like, hey, welcome. Come right in.
Okay. Start perusing around.
Maybe Shiv can help you with finding something for a present or something to make ghosts whisper.
That sounds like fun. But I'm looking for anything with beads.
Oh, let me see. Yes. He starts pulling off this box from the top shelf, and you see its bottom just falls out, and a load of trinkets scatter across the floor. You can roll me a D100 and see what rolls to your feet. Oh god, there's so many tables as well. Let's pick this one. And tell me what you get.
Okay, 49.
49. Oops. Well, that breaks. It was a hand mirror backed with a bronze depiction of a Medusa. But as it falls on the floor, it cracks and smashes. Oh no, Shiv, make so clumsies. Oh god. He picks it up.
I will pick it up anyway to have a look.
Am I here, by the way?
Depends on who followed me to the junk shop.
I
If you
probably
followed
did.
her, yeah.
I probably did. I'll cast Mending on it.
Oh.
I
All the
just give
glass
Elias a
breaks.
look like I could have got it cheaper because it's broken. What you doing?
Well, here's the... my associate here has repaired your item for you, so now it's sellable again, so I think maybe we should get it a little bit cheaper.
Oops. It was broad.
Sure, no one else is buying it anyway. We want it, I'll sell it.
I'd like to just get a good look at it for a minute.
Okay. You look over it, and as you're inspecting the craftsmanship, the Medusa snake hair is quite uniform and symmetrical. They've done a good job of crafting it, and he looks at you, kind of trying to inspect, and he says, "Oh yes, Medusa's not uncommon down here. Some are even taken as slaves. Nice deterrent to crime. But of course, Dal really don't care much about that. They're walking stone genies anyway. Wait, can you petrify a Dal? Ah, hold on." He looks. Maybe ask the mirror. Mirror, mirror, in customer's hand. Can Dal be petrified?
In this land?
In this, did that rhyme?
Did with the in this land?
Um, and you can roll an Arcana check, Eirina.
It's not. It is not.
Wouldn't be the first Medusa that's been taken as slaves. This was probably confiscated from them when they were captured.
Brain isn't working.
What are you trying to do?
I've got to obviously put it in manually. It's
Just click the dice. D20.
yeah.
And click the little plus.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure it out. It's intelligence plus my proficiency, isn't it? It's...
Well, if you look on your character sheet,
+2.
So it's +7.
if you look on your character sheet, there's a little grayed out number next to it.
Mm.
Well, there's actually the plus as well. So 11, you're not sure if Dao can be petrified or not. But Shiv might be onto something that it would keep them as slaves, but they wouldn't have any trouble with them. It makes a good slave, a deterrent against non-Dao intruders for sure. But you're not sure if they themselves are able to be petrified. Anyway, he says, but yeah, 10 gold. It's a nice mirror.
How?
10?
What else is floating around?
Roll another D100.
19.
He says, he holds up this little bottle and he says, I can show you this stuff in here, but it's invisible. Look! And he uncorks it and wafts it under your nose. And you can definitely smell ink in there, but it's a completely empty bottle. He puts the cork back on and he says, can only be seen at sunset.
I mean, that's pretty cool, but I have no use for that.
Really? You're carrying all these books and things. You seem
Yeah.
like a scholarly type.
Yeah, and I like to be able to read what I've written.
Well, you can write secret messages to a loved one or an informant.
Nah, I'm alright.
Oh.
I'm still looking for something that's got beads attached to it.
So am I. Oh. I have a necklace of a sibling.
A necklace of what?
Of my sibling. They used to have beads. And they pull it out. And it has got beads on it, but let me just check something. Does Eirina? He says they say they died a long time ago now. What was it? And he mentions a date that happens to be the exact same date as your birthday. Just by pure coincidence, maybe.
Okay, interesting.
But he says the date. What is Irina's birthday, if you have one?
There isn't one.
Well, he says a date, and you know your own birthday. Just so happens to be the same. And yeah,
For
the
contrast,
bead.
I'm gonna go some point in winter when it was like really heavy snow.
Sure.
Just because she uses fire.
Okay. So winter. So they say. Not the midwinter. They say yeah. They say like hammer the 30th, which is only your birthday, somewhere in winter.
Okay.
And
How attached
just
to this necklace does he seem?
very trying to peddle it.
Okay. How much?
Oh, how much? Right. $9? Seems like he's gone a bit cheaper than the mirror, going down one. Says, look.
Like, how many beads are on this thing? At least now I'm getting my money's worth.
Okay. There's a good 5 beads on there, but not all of them are beads. Seems.
Okay. What else is on here?
There is also some sort of like arrowhead as well, with like an elven design.
Okay.
And what else? One of the beads is made of brass, so it kind of like actually 2 of the beads, like either side of the arrowhead, is made of brass and kind of shines. And what else? And the last 2 beads seem to be showing. Well, there's one that shows something in it. Like you can see, it almost looks like a tiny crystal ball, but when you look at it, you can see like there's almost like a sun and a set of clouds in it. Seems like
Okay.
it is magical, but you're not sure what it's showing really. It just shows like a weather by the looks.
All right.
And lastly, the last bead is right. It seems to hum when you're given it. Like it wasn't making any noise before, but it's kind of shaken and handed to you. There's like a slight hum coming from it. You can hear it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, didn't even know it did that. And you start shaking it more, and the hum gets louder.
Okay. I will take this, and I will take the mirror.
Ooh, taking both. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And I will hand him 20 gold instead of 19.
Ah, you make Shiv happy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
So,
As you figure it out later, I'll tell you. The bead tells you the weather, but only the last, like yesterday's weather. It tells you. It seems to be attuned to perhaps the material plane. That is a sunny day. You can tell through the little orb. And the other bead is called a humming bead, and the more it's shaken, the louder and louder it gets. The other 2 are just simply brass beads.
I need to make a mental note to myself.
did actually think of something for
You can add
when
those. You can add those to your sheet.
you guys are done.
No, I can't.
Yeah,
I
you
do.
go
I
into
cannot.
Room, and you click add.
You think I didn't do that already?
Or you can right click it and then click edit item.
Didn't work. I think my
Right.
computer's just having a ridiculous moment.
Yeah,
So I'll make
I'd
a
clear
note
the cache.
and add it.
Maybe that does it. Alrighty, anyone else, or are we back to Haran's mistake?
Did actually think of something.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Chris. Very in line with Elias. Is there a toy shop down here? Like
No.
somewhere, maybe I can find like a Rock'em Sock'em Rock Bots.
I hate to inform you that no, this
Come
isn't a place to raise children.
I'll,
It's,
I'll probably try and get a trinket then.
This is a dreadful place to raise children.
I'll try and
There's
get
no Kesh'an.
a trinket then if I can roll a D100.
You want to buy off Shiv the wearer actual.
Sure, why
Go
not?
ahead, give me a D100.
Very nice.
See what he tries to peddle you. A musical type. I have just the thing. He opens up like a can. The lid goes spinning on the floor, and he says, "This is what you want." And it seems to have a vial. It appears to be filled with a healing potion, like a red liquid. You want this? You want this? Yes. This will help people injure wounds and injuries. Yes.
Oh, that's exactly the Elias type of thing. Sure.
Oh well. It's only 11 gold. Far cheaper than the usual ones on the market.
Sure.
If you want.
Dick. Is it just a regular?
It looks very regular.
It looks very regular. Can
I don't know how to describe it other than that.
I try and tell what it is?
Okay,
This looks like a
describe to me what you do.
Can I give it a sip? A little test?
So you uncork it, go to bring it to your lips, and the liquid goes up to the top of the glass.
Oh, wait, it starts to rise.
Yeah.
I cork it quick. Just like, what the?
Oh, gravity works strange down here. Haven't you figured that out yet?
What about if I stand on the ceiling and then do it? Surely it'd be. I'd try that.
The liquid turns again as you try to neck it this time. The liquid just goes back to the base of the vial.
Just stick my finger in and get a little and.
It is a healing potion. It tastes just like one.
Just a regular 2d4 healing potion.
It tastes just like that. Yeah, it is.
All right, good to know.
It tastes like a healing
I'm gonna
potion.
take it quickly from Elias. I'm gonna go over to the nearest rickety-looking shop, and I'm gonna try and use it as like one of those balance thingies to see if the liquid is in the middle.
The spirit level. You know what? It tends. Yeah. You know what? It actually starts to do that. Yeah. There's a little bubble in the middle that starts to like even out.
It has a purpose.
Amazing.
So you can write Shiv's spirit level. It is a healing potion.
Yeah, I've just added it as a healing potion.
Just good luck getting it out.
You basically just have to use it like in video games where you have to eat the glass vial as well.
You do, yeah, that's it. Because I'll tell you now, it's one of the weird trinkets. I think it might be the vial itself that's the problem. Yeah, it is. No matter which way you tip it, the liquid never comes out of the vial. So, I'll tell you that out of game. You're not quite sure. You think it may be a spirit level, which it could be used as one. But, yeah, it is actually filled with a potion of healing. But you'll need a straw.
Can I get a straw?
Well, no, there's no such thing as straws in this one.
Maybe you can get like a stick of cinnamon and suck it out.
Hey, nice. Or a reed.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway,
you said,
back to her rounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karius
Yeah,
was
you got
considering looking around for stuff, but he's like, no, I'll keep my money for now.
Okay. I got a really warm red sock.
You mean just the one?
And a blue one that never gets wet.
That's tempting.
Red sock to keep you warm. Blue one to keep you dry.
Do you have any keys?
I didn't even think of that. Oh no. I'm gonna stuck here forever. The best shop I've ever been in.
I thought you can't talk.
I can't, but I'm so excited.
Yes. Shiv have key. And he pulls out a pair of scissors. This unlocks fabric.
Yeah.
I kind of want to buy it just for that.
Don't really need those.
And then watch! And he detaches them, and they're 2 daggers. He's like, oh. And then he puts them back together again. They're detachable scissor blades.
Really? This is tempting you?
It is. But the socks, get back to the socks.
Oh, the socks, yes. They're woven from the finest silks and magical. Very magical.
Silk socks. Ew, they get really sweaty.
Oh, well, they won't because they always keep one dry. Well, the other one will. The red one keeps warm. The blue one is always dry.
The one that keeps things warm might be good for Egbert.
How much for the pair?
The pair, the old D12 again. 1 gold.
1 gold. Sure.
Yeah, I can't get rid of them.
You know what? I'm really liking the shop. What do you recommend for me?
All right. Give me a D100. He finds this large sack, and you hear this sound of. You sort of hear like the jingle of metallic objects clanging against one another, like it's just filled to the brim with like washers or something. And yeah, roll me a D100 because he's reaching quite deep into it.
D100. Come on, roll exactly 50.
Did you 50?
Yep.
Ooh. And he starts to pull out a hilt of a bronze-looking sword, and as he pulls it out of the washers, there's no blade. It's just the hilt. He's like, oh, he starts looking around. Well, it might be in there, or maybe it's just the hilt. Here, and he hands it to you. If you ever
Karius.
need a spare hilt,
Yeah.
this is quite powerful, it seems. It has got runes in an unknown language. Which
Karius
means
will.
only any person that's going to be able to read it is Eirina.
Yeah. Karius will go, you know what? Just because, for the curiosity's sake, and because I like you, I'm going to buy it. And I also want to buy 2 other things at random.
Oh.
He says it was powerful, and that's the hilt he'll die on.
There you go.
How long are these socks, by the way? Are they like all like proper knee socks, or?
Still going on about the socks.
This is important information.
Yes, if you want them to be knee-high socks, yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna go over to Kesh'an and I'm gonna like tie one round and then the other way, so it's like a Christmas present bow. He will now be warm and dry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. I like it. The red and blue kind of interwoven, very, very.
The same
Stylish.
colours as the library uniform.
Oh.
He's a little scholar.
And that's
that's
a
good.
big circle because it was like it also
Like a
belonged
Hogwarts
to
house.
them as well, didn't it? So, circles.
It's like a Hogwarts house scarf.
Can I have a look at a trinket at random?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I just buy the shop.
I'll give it a go. Let's have a look. 54.
54. Oh, this isn't the same sack. And he reaches down. Oh, and he starts like hot potatoing something, and he throws it to you. And it's a little handheld cauldron that's always a little hot. He said you can cook like whatever you want, the smallest little dish in here.
Don't
It's
be
adorable.
like it. Oh, that's so cute.
It's
Yeah.
a constantly hot mug.
Yes.
What's what's the price for this one?
Oh, it's only 3 gold.
Sold.
And how much was the sword hilt?
He's gonna go with 12 gold on that, the map, because
Okay.
it was actually apparently part of a magical weapon. which is broken, and you will need to like decipher the runes. But it may have had an enchantment that now it needs a new blade. Who knows?
Andi, pick something out.
Okay. What do you want?
I had this coloured piece of bread.
The 54th item.
It's another cauldron.
Hey,
Well,
that's
two
right.
below that, he does say like, "I got a coloured piece of bread."
Sold! You said bread, that's all she heard.
Now, when you said coloured piece of bread, does that mean it's a mouldy piece of bread?
How
that
much?
Just changed colour
How much
because
for
it's
the
mouldy?
bread?
No clue. Random colour.
What have I done?
I've got a random colour generator here, and it's gonna be steel blue.
It matches
Oh.
your cape. Kind
There
of.
you go. Woo!
How much for the bread?
He's sniffing it and examining it and testing the crustiness of it.
One gold.
Sold. And I pay for that as well. You have
She
your
looks,
bread.
she looks like a happy kid just sits in the corner just with hugging her bread.
Man, you really are gonna buy me out. This is great. This is the best business I've had all month.
Hmm.
I like it how he's excited. I'll buy another trinket.
You know what? I'm honestly, we have a performance coming up in the talent channel. If we have the opportunity, I'm going to try and weave in an advertisement for the shop.
Oh, please, yes. Shib shite is what we call it.
She's the best shop ever.
It always happens. Just a pointless random NPC. I pull out my ass. It's now gonna become the talent show like sponsor or something.
Hey, it would make sense because we could be the shite show.
Oh dear.
The Shiitsters.
Oh please.
The Kiashites?
Doshi finally catches up to you and says, "Ah, there you are. I've been looking for you. Oh goodness, you haven't bought that were-rat stuff, have you?
It's amazing.
It's.
You
Oh, wait, no, I can't talk in front of this guy. Shh.
you might want to wash it before you wear it if
Yeah.
you are afraid of lycanthropy or anything like that."
Karius just uses shape water on his thing and just washes all of the items.
Yeah. Anyways, I have good news. The stage is available for rehearsals. I have booked us an opening tomorrow morning.
Excellent. We also have a potential meeting with Shakef the Quiet in order to negotiate the purchase, hopefully, of one of his slaves, because we feel he will be vital to our performance.
He's looking for a new slave, it is.
Yes, I'm sure its repertoire of fighters would be an interesting addition to a troupe of acrobats.
Exactly. They're like a second Kesh'an. It's great.
Indeed.
Wait.
And what was the other one called? Something the truthful.
Wool. Hold on. Gotta go back. Woolnew.
Yeah.
Wolnew the truthful would like to
Wolnew.
pin Kesh'an against their best fighter.
In an exhibition match. But
That's again down to Haran.
But also, you know, I think maybe possibly after the talent show, because we don't want Kesh'an to be exhausted.
It would be wiser to not turn that down. Woolnew is, well, a renowned pit fight. What's the word?
Entrepreneur?
Yes,
Well,
exactly. Or
They are looking to discuss terms in also a meeting also.
And it might be
I-
that might be able to get Kesh'an into some even bigger leagues.
Yeah, and get
Um,
Haran in with some more connections.
I'm afraid negotiations usually only better Walnew if I'm correct. I'm gonna just roll to see how much knowledge he knows about her. Yes. Normally these sort of deals. Well, there's a reason why she has grown to be so prestigious in the pit fighting tournaments. He is usually always the winner. Call it good business sense or call it a good eye for fighters. Either way, she always seems to find the victory.
Usually.
Yes, I will organize that meeting as soon as I can. Best not to keep her waiting.
So
Um,
two meetings and a performance training.
yes, that's. Is there anything you wish to do for tonight, or are you all resting this evening?
Nothing that
There
immediately
is a-
comes to mind.
Oh, hello. All right then. Um, there is a meal. You've been invited to Karius.
Oh, all of us or just me?
Um, the others the others have their own meal, but you've
Okay.
been invited to a managers meeting meal.
Okay, I can attend that. But Karius considers this for a moment and just sort of looks amongst the group. But I will need my star advisor, Andi, to come with me, just in case.
I mean, yes, of course.
Oh. You can roll a persuasion check, just real quick, Harry.
It's not great.
You probably saw
This
she was like
is-
looking over at something and her hand was slowly going to it and she quickly whipped it behind her back when you called her name.
This is a very sensitive matter.
Okay. That's fair. I get it. I'm sure I'll manage to cope without you, Andi, but what I want you to do is keep an eye on all the others and make sure they're doing their rehearsal exercises and really getting ready for the rehearsal tomorrow. Putting you in charge of that whilst I'm at this meeting.
I shall go over some vocal drills and some keys and some dance routines and yes, anything they need. And I need.
And I must ask this as well, as Harin has asked me to, but you are all wearing those bands that were given to you?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
And are you?
Yeah, Karius
Is-
Karius has only taken his off when they're having important conversations.
Okay. Let's see.
Not because I haven't been given mine back yet.
Well, there you go. You are to wear these at all times. The only condition whilst here in the estate, I'm sure you understand, it is for security reasons. It is for your own protection as much as it is his.
Could have used these in the fight. That would have been useful.
And he just hands you another pair, Elias.
Alright.
And when you're ready, Karius, dinner
Yeah.
will be served shortly. The rest
Right.
of you have your buffet as usual.
No, enjoy. And I'm gonna give Eirina the bronze weapon hilt and be like, can you just work out what that says for me and write it down?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Okay.
in my coat pocket
Yep.
somehow.
Off to
One of
dinner.
my many pockets.
You're a
You
sim.
would follow me upstairs.
Wouldn't?
And Karius, yeah, you see Doshi actually leads you up a level, moving away the earth so that you can freely walk up the
Oh,
stairs, and you find a separate dining room where you are seated. And it feels like there was dinner for more people here, just from the length of the table and the amount of food placed. But it's just you, Doshi, and Kim. And in fact, even after Doshi leads you here, even he is excused as well. So that it is just you and Haran. Welcome, Kesh'an. Karius, is it? Sorry.
yes.
Take a seat. I am
Thank you.
good to see that you are already taking your role so seriously. Though, I have to regretfully ask you to do more than what your station is required.
Okay.
How versed are you in divine magic?
I have a few. I have a bit, but I'm not as powerful as some. I can bless people or do like basic ceremonies.
I see. Please eat, by the way. Your
Karius will do so.
yeah, you're given quite a delectable meal of succulent meats and salted salted hors d'oeuvres. Basically, top of the cream of the crop sort of stuff. He says, I believe you and the Quiet One might be the only ones who can assist me in this.
Okay.
A certain spell is required for the upcoming contest.
What spell is this?
He takes a sip of wine and you can roll an insight check as he's building himself up to this.
I'm feeling out of character. I know what this is, but in character, well, actually in character, I have a feeling it's not great. But wisdom not my best,
Well,
despite being a cleric.
He's remaining quite stoic, it seems, in this point. But you can tell there's sort of an air of seriousness to it. Else, why would he have chosen you specifically to come up here? He says, "No, I'm hoping that you keep this to yourself. This is strictly confidential." But
Can I discuss it with Eirina, as there might be the one that to help, or purely to myself?
for now, I will require you to keep this completely to yourself.
Okay.
Make sure that this doesn't leak up to
Understandable.
anybody. But I will need you to form a circle out of this. And he slides across the table a kind of an urn. And
Okay.
it's a sturdy looking urn. And as you look inside, it is powdered silver. And there's iron as well. Powdered silver and iron. There's quite a lot of it as well. Probably, just a guess, probably about 1,000 gold's worth of silver in this urn.
Protection from evil and good?
Not quite. I need you to make a line of this in a circle around the stage.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, why?
There is trouble afoot. There are rumors going around. I don't want to alarm you or spill any of the details, but there could be a potential for foul play during the contest. And this powdered silver is a protection spell. It will ward away creatures that wish to do harm. You understand?
Okay.
As long as whoever remains inside stays inside, the silver will act as a shield.
Okay. Right. No,
There's a spell. You can roll an Arcana check. You probably guessed it right by now.
yeah.
But you can roll an Arcana check. It's only DC 13.
Only just.
Yeah, okay. You understand this is a spell called Magic Circle.
Okay. Around the
And
entire
only
stage, that's massive.
clerics, paladins, warlocks, and wizards can cast it. That's why he's asked you. He doesn't know whether he trusts Eirina or not. So otherwise, he wouldn't have made that then. But
Okay.
then, after this is placed, it would last roughly an hour, which will, I'm guessing, likely be the length of the show. I need you to place this before this goes down. In other words, whilst those are performing, you can begin the circle.
Okay, that should be possible.
There's another reason why I'm asking you, Karius. You are the manager. You're not necessarily part of the show, but
Yes.
you will be given access to the stage and below it as well. There is actually a compartment, another level to the stage underneath it, where you will be able to access
Right.
it and place the
Understood.
silver. You can understand why discretion is required.
Exactly. So I just need to place the material down, and then that will make the spell work, or
There is one more component of it, and he places a scroll on the table, and it is a massive, massive scroll. It's probably twice the size of a normal one, but he unrolls it, and you see the abjuration runes on it. It says, completing this spell requires the reading of this scroll, which you seem capable of. But, yes.
Yes.
This is why I asked you specifically. You are the man for the job, Karius.
Understood. I won't let you down. Just Karius considers this for a moment. Am I casting this to keep things out, or am I casting this to keep things in? Because it can be done both ways.
Roll an insight check. It is to keep things out, as I've mentioned.
Ooh.
He turns away and he looks over towards the side of the room where there are paintings. And on the wall, there is a painting of him and his wife standing side by side. It looks like perhaps one point where he was happiest in his life, a memory that was captured here for him to reflect on. And he's staring at it. And you see him perhaps gripping the knife and fork in his hands. You see his knuckles whiten, and he looks at it. You can see he's stopped chewing his food for a moment. Seems to be like gritting it in his teeth, like he's gripping the meat between his molars. And then he turns back to you. Yes, this is for the Sultan, for the Great Khan's protection. And he begins cutting into another piece of meat.
Seems like that's not the case, but Karius thinking to himself, based on his reactions, if I realize this might be a delicate question, and feel free to tell me to mind my own business, and I will accept that. But if you don't mind me asking, how did your wife pass? I know, delicate subject, but...
It is a query that I am often asked. The circumstances of her death were a tragic one. I'm afraid she died in an accident deep within the 7th region of the Sevenfold Maze.
A dangerous place.
Even for the Tao.
I'm not sure if Doshi's had a chance to speak to you about this yet, or if he had some way of communicating with you while we were out, but I had a favor to ask on behalf of Kesh'an in particular, who honestly really showed his stuff today in the arena. I mean, the whole crowd were with him. The Truthful wants to arrange an exhibition match to, for some reason, they want to discuss that with yourself. But there was a goblin there by the name of Yuck Mug, currently owned by Shakef the Quiet, and Kesh'an sees great potential in them, not only for the performance, but for making himself an even better fighter as things go on. And we were hoping to arrange a negotiation to perhaps see if he could be added to our roster.
Once again, you show the initiative, and I shall arrange this. I shall follow through with this meeting that
Thank
you've
you.
arranged. Excellent work, Karius.
Thank you.
And as for the other little task I have for you, I will make sure that there is a suitable bonus.
Understood.
All right.
Karius will
Then
enjoy his
shall we
meal.
toast to a to a fruitful contest?
Exactly, to a well-executed performance.
Yes, indeed. You can't help but see a smile on his face, and he raises a toast and drinks the wine of his enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, his,
Karius just for... Oh no, I didn't... I really wish I'd got that expanded cantrip scroll for Shape Water. I really, really wish I had, because I want to do so much more with this spell.
Okay. All right.
If we ever go back to Terek's Tower, that's on my list.
And it says, consider the urn, if anyone asks, as part of your bonus for management.
Yes, it's
and
very
for showing the
valuable. Thank you.
is.
I shall take care of it.
All right, that's it.
And with that, he will...
After dinner, you can go back to the other spot.
He pauses for a moment. Does this mean that I'm allowed above stairs, or is that only for this one meeting?
That is simply for this one particular meeting.
I just thought I'd clarify so we don't get out of bounds, you know. Well, enjoy the rest of your... I'd say evening or day at this point, but there's no real concept of time, so enjoy the rest of your time before you rest for... I guess. And Karius just heads downstairs. He's still just
Yeah. Whilst Karius has been having that meeting, what about the rest of you guys? Anything you wanted to do? You've got a little buffet to yourselves that the other servants are enjoying as well at this point. They've already kind of drawn up preliminary prototypes, we'll say, for your costumes.
I would have taken my unconscious goblin and put him somewhere comfortable and made sure there was food ready for him.
Is he still unconscious this entire time?
I didn't heal him. I'm not a healer. What am I supposed to do? I patched him up.
Did we take an unconscious goblin to the shop?
Yeah, Shiv didn't ask any questions.
I've been carrying him around all day.
Do you want me to
He's not-
heal him?
Good lord.
He'll
Would
be
you-
fine after some sleep, right?
He
Sure.
is, yeah, he's actually he comes awake after 3 hours.
And I make sure there's food and stuff.
Yeah, he
Ready
wakes to
for
the
him.
face of a gargoyle staring at him. He's like, "Ah, ah, ah," and then the
He's-
gargoyle kind of veers away from him.
No, you need at least 8 hours of sleep. Conk.
Ah,
No, 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 no. No, I wouldn't do that.
He's looking around a little bit bewildered, like, "Am I dead? Is this like hell or heaven?" Looks the same, actually.
Just gonna pat his head a few times and then offer him the plate of food.
Oh, you, the demon that killed me.
I
I
mean,
saw you in my nightmares,
she
repeatedly punching me in the face. It
she did
never ended.
she did save your life and also saved you from the ownership of your old Dow.
Oh, wait.
You're free now. Well, kind of free. You're under someone better.
Free? What does that even mean?
You're with us now.
Is that good or bad? I'm not sure. You're the one
Well-
who like knocked me out, so I can't tell yet.
Right, I'm just gonna go over to him and give him a heal, just so he gets the idea.
Yeah.
Just-
Oh, that is better. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You have my appreciation.
We mean you no harm.
And well,
Sort of wave to get Elias's attention and just kind of like point repeatedly at him.
At him,
The goblin.
Yes?
so who am I to?
Him?
Like,
who am I
I'm getting the goblin to carry on. Like, I want the goblin's name, damn it!
Oh, yes. My name's.
I
Buck.
can't say that.
I just look at the name tag on his collar.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya.
My name is.
Killed
Well,
my father. Prepared to die.
Your name is Butt.
Butt. Yes.
Do you like that name?
What's wrong with Butt? Something funny about my name?
No.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You know your place, young man.
One sec. Is there a save for trying to hold in a laugh?
Yeah, of course. Charisma. Wait,
Oh,
what's
charisma.
Tasha's hideous laughter?
Oh shit. Okay.
I'm pretty sure Tasha's.
Isn't that wisdom?
I'm checking.
It might be wisdom. If it's wisdom, I'm
Um,
screwed.
It is a wisdom save, yeah. Sorry, wisdom save.
I'm screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, you burst out laughing. What? What? So why are you so mean? Is this why you dragged me back so you could humiliate me?
No. Just
You want me to be a little jester? You want me to do a dance? Laugh at old butt.
can you dance? That would be great if you could dance.
Oh yeah, I can dance. Put him up. Let's dance.
Not like that. With your feet.
No, no.
No.
My knees don't bend.
That's a shame.
That's the only reason why you got me in that fight.
Well, you owe her your gratitude, and yeah, if she asks you something, you should definitely do it. The rest of us, you don't have to do what we say, but
All right. What can butt do for you? I can do anything.
Just offer him the food again.
yeah, I mentally speak to
You want me to
Eirina
eat-
with message. What do you want me to ask him to do?
Like, he needs to eat something. I pummeled the crap out of him.
She
Oh, yeah.
apologizes, and she also wants you to eat because you need to eat.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if this makes up for it. That's. Yeah,
To be fair, he tried to beat me up too.
I didn't lay a finger on you. I was holding back.
He can't hear this.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
she
I can read
she
minds
does have a
too.
She did have a point. You did attack her as well.
That was the
But
whole
that,
point of being in the arena.
that was the
Didn't
whole
lay a
point.
finger on her. I'm a gentleman. He starts like gnashing into this food,
Oh,
ripping it
it's like
apart.
seeing Kaz.
How old are you, but?
What do you mean? That's a very rude question. I'll have you know. I'm old enough to be retired. That's for sure.
Where's he from?
What?
Ask him where he's from.
Where are you
Oh,
from?
Oh, where am I from? 59.
59?
Oh no, that was the answer to your previous question.
Oh, how old are you?
59.
59.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? How do goblins age? Like, do they get old that soon?
Yeah. They get old
Yeah,
pretty quick.
they have a short lifespan to the point I think that they're technically
roll?
considered adults like at 15 or something.
Yeah, if you want to, Elias or Eirina, you can roll an Arcana check.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because I've
Or
still
medicine, I guess.
I've still got a
You've no
youth
idea how
potion.
old goblins live to.
I've got a youth
What
potion,
what
and
about
I'm like,
Eirina? Eirina would
do
know
I
a little
use
bit about
that?
goblins, speaking to Kaz often. You can roll and see what you get.
Am I rolling?
You can roll an intelligence check, or you can roll a medicine base. You can roll an intelligence-based medicine, or you can even roll an Arcana check, because I guess they're considered fey creatures. That's a bit better. Plus your intelligence, right?
Yeah, so it's +2.
+2, so 15. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd say that's enough to kind of know. The goblins age. They reach adulthood at 8. 8
Wow.
years of age, they're considered an adult. Anything after that is really getting on,
I mean,
and
to be fair, this
they
guy
live up
is.
to they live up
If
to
this
60 years old.
if this guy is as old as he says he is, he's probably the oldest goblin known to date.
It reminds me of
lucky. They're lucky if they reach 60.
it reminds me of an old wizard I knew. Like similar voice as well.
What?
You know,
No.
the
I'm
gluten
not a
free was
wizard.
called.
Wasn't
He
he a
wasn't
turtle?
No, he was green and grey.
Apparently very tasty to whites.
I hear you're doing some sort of contest. Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh, think you fancy, eh?
you got.
He didn't tell us where he's from.
Oh, well, wrong. Jesus.
Oh yeah, where
Christ.
you from?
Well, as you can see, I'm a greenskin. Means I'm from the material plane, just like you fellas, folks.
Keep going.
Well, I haven't been there in a long ass time.
When was the
So,
last time you were there? And where were you from when you were there?
I probably was about 10 years old. On my 10th birthday, they kidnapped me. And where was I from? Oh, do you know the giant crevasse thing above Thumbridge?
Eirina?
Thumbridge? Must know Thumbridge?
Yeah. Like, this is in Elias's head.
There you
I-
go. Well,
I may have played at Foundry a few times.
Like,
I'm about,
Across seas.
I'm sort of underneath that. Oh, well, above it and underneath it. I'm in the crevasse near Thumbridge, in the deep earth.
Oh, so you
Hmm,
come from the deep earth anywhere?
I do, but material plane earth,
Yes.
not plane of earth.
Eirina, you looked like you were going to say something.
there's just a whole massive, like, questions barraging your brain now.
Let's start one at a time.
What? What do you want to know?
Like I'm gonna come and literally just suddenly sort of plonk myself opposite. I'm getting my book out, plonking it down, and I've got a pen, and I'm just like, right.
He wants you to
Okay.
talk about where you're from and everything
Well,
about it.
Jeez, well, it's a hot territory, let me tell you. There's lots of things going on down there. We don't just have kidnappings from the Earth plane to deal with. There's also drow who want to take slaves for themselves. And then you get these crazy wizards coming down. They call themselves excavators, but they're there to just steal everything. All the treasures of the deep, all the weird magical artifacts down there. Basically, the whole place is like a massive underground road. No, I faded from existence. I just deleted his token and I basically saw him like Obi-Wan out of there. All right, I'm back. Yeah, basically it's a treasure trove, and those damn wizards, they come down there, they steal all the things. They're like, oh, it belongs in a museum, and I'm like, it belongs to where it found it, and in fact, nobody should be finding those things. They were best left buried.
Oh, Eirina's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Anything to do with you, Eirina?
Yeah.
Huh.
They do those crazy weird tests and experiments. I don't know much about that. Not being topside much, but I can tell you, they get all really giddy and excited. They're like, oh, I wonder what this thing does. Let's take it back and put it under some sort of experimental magic. Yeah, that's a great idea. Ugh.
I slowly close my book and tuck
Yeah,
it away.
he's rambling now, so I just slowly slip away to go to bed. It's like, okay. Wherever bed
Yeah.
is.
They're dangerous stuff.
Irina's literally just kind of like, oh, this guy's not gonna like me when he finds out.
Yeah, basically.
The last
He
thing
just
you
keeps
hear,
saying,
the last thing you hear is Elias is leaving. He just, but
yeah. Oh, but.
as it echoes down the corridor.
I heard you. Damn kids. All right. Sleep time now. And he passes back out after rambling so much. And at this point, Karius, you'll probably return. In fact, it's getting late for everyone, and sleep is on the menu unless you have stuff you want to do.
Nothing that immediately comes to mind.
In which case, go to day 3. Yeah, day 3 should be the last day before the contest.
Yeah.
All right, we'll fast forward. So,
It's 10-2.
yep, that's fine. We can just finish on the next day because I got something up. So you can see what's going on. So early in the morning, Doshi wakes you all up, says, right, I have organized the meetings for today, but we do have a slot for you to rehearse on the stage. I will escort you now if you wish. But really, this is the final day you have left to prepare. So I should warn you that you must be ready, not to disappoint.
Yes.
Oh, gathers you all up. This time you're also escorted by a pair of gargoyles as well. Keep a watchful eye. It is the Great Khan's stage, but let me just check the map in order. No. Or we'll be ending on this anyway. I want to make sure the map's in place. No. Alright. And also, Karius, are you actually keeping your word? You're not going to say
Yep,
anything
I'm
to
not
the group?
saying anything.
Okay, good.
I'm not
No,
going
you
to
still know.
say anything, but keeping my word, I'm going to thinking of the group. Does Eirina speak Infernal? Yeah. I wanted to say something secretly in like writing, but I don't have any language to do it in.
If you're doing it in writing, then I can read every language.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I'll write in Infernal. How many are likely to speak Infernal down here? So I'm just gonna say, just write something and just like, I'm not gonna exactly explain the full details, but I'm just gonna say, Haran seems to have a plan during the performance, something to do with a spell he wants me to help cast. So keep your guard up. I can't go into details because I said I wouldn't, but I think we might be in for more than we bargained for. And then as soon as Eirina's read it, I just use Shocking Grasp to turn it to ash.
Okay. All right.
Technically, I've not broken my word. I told them I wouldn't say anything. Karius is a merchant.
Bending the rules.
And technically, I haven't said what I'm up to either. Just that there's
just telling them to
something.
prepare for something.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
So,
Also,
Can't get them out
I
of work.
just say to Elias, just before the performance starts, I would appreciate some inspiration from either you or Andi, or both, if that's somehow possible. Because I know I'm gonna have to roll a wisdom check for this, because it's a cleric spell, and that's just like,
yeah, it's a risky business. Unfortunately, I can't get the map to work right now, but I have added a image to the Roll for Story artwork tab on Discord, and you can have a look at the stage effectively. And I'll drop an image in here as well. There.
Wait.
But yeah, basically a massive circular platform that, as I mentioned, the dimensions are about 70 foot by 100 foot wide. So you do have a plenty of space to perform. In the center, down below, there's like this kind of a hole in the ground, but it's got a small barrier around it, and then another barrier, and then you see carpeted rugs and pillows and skins that are there to perhaps perform as a lounging area for the Great Sultan himself. Oh, sorry, the Great Khan. The stage is gigantic. This Colosseum is like dug into the earth, and the ceiling above is probably hundreds of feet up. There's a set of stairs that kind of lead all the way down and onto the stage, and the stage is slightly raised up above the first step, but it does feel like a bowl for the most part. But it's raised up one step enough that you can see that there are several doors around the stage that lead into an underside, basically below the stage. Yeah, you can already start to see there's bits of paint being painted to sort of segment the circle, the ring, and people are measuring it out right as we speak, painting out the kind of design to separate each performer. And it does indeed look like there will be 6 performances going on, and you're 2 of them.
Yeah.
That leaves 4 competitors. And before we wrap up tonight, I should also have mentioned that Uti would have come in tonight. That was what I was going to say. But we'll backtrack a second. And Uti has come back. He was sent to find out information about these other performers. In fact, he should have come back on the first night, because there's 3 that he can potentially scout out. So I would like anyone, to roll me a d20, to basically serve as Uti's stealth check. There it is. Elias has Look at that. 7, not good. Okay, well, he
We
has
picked
got.
him again. Uti did not return.
You'd think with that kind of roll, it is a bit precarious. But what he does,
Precarious.
Uti does return, and he does say, oh. He seems a bit panicked and looking over his shoulder. And Uti's like, Uti had trouble. Uti was not followed though. Don't worry. But Uti was detected. Those Zorns, sneakies, they have tremor sense. They heard me coming. Yes.
What did you find out?
The Zorn well, they're Zorn. That's what I found out. One of the performers. Yes.
Okay.
Uti found out the juggler is a Zorn.
Interesting. With
Makes
that,
sense. He has an extra arm to juggle.
for that, I shall give him 16 gold's worth of gems.
But Uti
Because
couldn't
he
get
risked his
closer.
life.
They heard me through the earth. But
Did you check any of the other performers, or was that the only one you had a chance to do so?
well, I got caught, so Uti had to
Understandable.
flee for now and go into hiding. But this is kind of dangerous now. I realize Uti want more.
Well,
Uti need big payment for if going in to find more.
yeah, well,
Yes.
I've given you this for the risk for this one. So how about, I think we agreed on 15, I think? I gave you 1 extra for danger money this time.
Right.
But let's say next time, if you go and find more information, and you can get it to us before the performance starts, 25 gold's worth of gems.
Uti say 30 gold worth of gems. It's dangerous. Who knows what they do to Uti if they find Uti.
30 gold's worth of gems if you come back with information useful. If you are, that's acceptable.
Okay.
But if you find anything extra special, there might be a bonus in it for you.
Okay. All right. Uti go find out information about.
Yeah.
Which one? Lithomancer or the other one?
The Lithomancer, I think, would be the most. What was the other one? There was.
Oh no.
Go for the Lithomancer.
Okay.
Be interesting to see
he
how good they are.
burrows into the ground and rolls off.
Take care of that booty, Uti.
So was that the first night's sleep? And
That would have been the first night, yeah.
so this would be the second night.
This is the second night, and I'm gonna ask, why don't Kesh'an roll me a d20, and then we'll call it on that note. Let's see what that roll is
I
first.
think D20.
Yeah, it's a d20.
9.
He's not done.
It's not good.
So he gets
He's gotten a
10
bit
in
better.
total. Yeah, okay. Uti will come back day 2, but he hasn't got much more information either. He will tell you some about that though. But we'll save it for next session. For now though, Uti comes back just as panicked, like panting, like looking around over his shoulder.
Alright.
Poor Uti.
In
Alright.
which case, we are wrapping up, but as halftime entertainment before our real performance starts, make sure to watch The Wild Behind the Witchlight with the Carnival cards on Sunday, and join us on Friday again for the next part of this. And then on the Monday after that, we've got more What Lies Beneath, where we'll see if those drow really are taking goblin slaves, perhaps.
Drow.
Right.
More drows. Anyway, see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Poor Uti.